All right, we're live. Jacob McBride, welcome.
Thank
Hey,
you. It's
how you
good to
doing,
be
man?
here.
Awesome, guys.
I'm
Quick
doing all
intro.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
go for it.
sorry, I got to get better at this part of it. I talk over people. It's awful. Jacob is out in California, so we had to line up the times. I've had a few interviews now with West Coast guys. I've got one after this with the guy in Britain with a 5 hour difference. So lining up the times is tough. So it's morning for Jacob. It's mid afternoon for me, getting ready to watch the Patriots kill the Texans. Um, guys, Jacob is, for those of you who don't know, pro strongman, right? That's SC, I assume?
No, so the Strongman Corporation they just came out with their pro card for the 90 class this last year. So typically it's just you're doing OSG, you're doing like I did the Chaos Classic, you're doing PSL shows. Basically, you're doing the top level shows before there was an official pro card. And as you know, outside the US, pro cards aren't really a thing anyway. It's
Yep.
really just are you competing at the money shows, are you competing at the highest shows, all that. Now that there is a pro card, I would like to go back and get that. But they rolled that out like the 2 months before I switched to bodybuilding. So I'm like, I'm taking a step back from strongman. Like, okay, here's a pro card. I'm like, well, shit.
Yep.
But
Yep.
at that point, I'd already kind of committed to it. So we'll circle back. I'm pretty confident that I'll still be able to compete 90. When I switched over to bodybuilding, I was a little concerned that with the muscle mass added and how lean I already was getting to compete at U90, that maybe I wouldn't be able to do it anymore. But the weight class for my height in bodybuilding is like 203, I think. So if I'm down that light, I mean, I do water cuts from 212 in strongman.
Oh yeah.
So I don't think I put on as much muscle mass as I was maybe expecting. So I think U90 is still very, very achievable. So I
Yeah.
do plan to return to strongman at U90.
The difference is I've done bodybuilding. We're gonna get into that. Like when you're
Yeah,
dieting for the bodybuilding show, dude, the adage is this: you look like you're carved out of granite, but you feel like jello, right? Because like, dude, you're just
yeah,
tanking your testosterone, right? You're just
yeah.
such low body fat that like, bro, you would never want to jump in a U90 show if you're walking around at 203, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, I wouldn't walk around at 203 for strongman, but I'm just saying if I can achieve like 205, do that little bit of water cut because you don't do as big of a water cut for bodybuilding because then obviously it shrinks you down too much. Your muscles are empty. But uh, if I get down to like 205, 206 for bodybuilding to make 203, then I can still go from 212 in strongman. It just lets me know
yeah.
that I can still get to that body weight.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And I was lean for strongman, but I wasn't like lean. Like there was a little bit more I could squeeze out of it. But yeah, just a little bit depressing. I was expecting to put on more weight, and it didn't happen.
Dude, growing actual muscle is tough. It's like when people say like for Hollywood, right?
Yeah,
Like, oh, he put on 25 pounds of muscle for this role. It's like, no,
I
he didn't.
can't stand when I see those things. It's like
Yep. He put
that's
on a
that's
little like you did, dude.
physiologically impossible.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Even
think
like,
they said the recent one was with Sydney Sweeney. They said she put on 30 pounds of muscle for that boxing movie. I'm like,
yeah,
there's absolutely no fucking way she put on
dude,
30 pounds. I'm
nah, she's
sorry.
like a
She might
130
have gained
pound
30
girl.
pounds and she might have built some good muscle, but it wasn't 30 pounds of muscle. That's just
Yep.
not possible.
Yep. I think I saw you comment on one of those ones with Sydney Sweeney because I'm like, I'm glad you
Yeah.
jumped in because
I,
I always jump in and it's like, guys, you don't know what you're looking at. The best example, and I think a lot of bros will appreciate this because I think he's a lot of people's man crush is Henry Cavill when he did Superman. Like, yeah, the
yeah.
dude, the dude looks great, right? But like, unless you see true numbers and you see him step on a scale, people say he's
Yeah.
like 6'2", 240. It's like, no, he's probably 215 tops. It's Hollywood camera magic.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Guy looks incredible, but it's
Oh, he does. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, you'll find with bodybuilding, dude. It's funny. We're trying to talk strongman. We're going straight into bodybuilding. Let's do it. Because I've done 6 bodybuilding shows. I did men's physique with the board
Oh,
shorts.
six. Okay.
Way different.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
with bodybuilding, dude, like you're in prep, and like you'll have friends, dude, that never done a show, and you'll be maybe 12% body fat. Like, bro, you look like you could win a show right now. You got to be 5% body fat. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you don't have a clue what you're looking at. I'm about 12%. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm 10%. You got to be five. And it's like, no, you're not 10%. You're closer to 20.
Yeah.
So be wary of those
Yeah.
people, dude. Like you have a coach,
Well,
so like no, trust your
yeah,
coach.
and these people they'll go to like 24-hour, they'll go to Gold's Gym, LA Fitness, whatever, and they'll step on those scales that measure your body fat percent, and they're not accurate. So they're in some cases they're making up, but in some cases they think they're giving you like measured information. Like, no, you stepped on a
Yep,
gimmicky thing that it should feed you a number, but it doesn't really mean anything.
exactly. Like I use the in body during prep just to make sure I'm
Yeah,
doing all
yeah.
right. But as long as you use it, I don't think like at one point it said I was down to 9 point something. I didn't really think that I was that lean, but I use it consistently every like 6 weeks during prep. So at least I'm getting consistent data from a machine that's not as good as
Yeah.
like a DEXA or an InBody or what is it, hydrostatic when we get in the pool.
Yeah, it's the same as like with calorie trackers for your workouts. Like they're not necessarily accurate, but you can compare data from that same readout week after week to get a directional, like a trend at least.
Yeah.
So it might not be like you are actually doing 500 calories, but if you go from 500 to 600 in a workout, at least you know you are, your intensity or your calorie burn is increasing, even if you don't know the exact number.
Right,
So it's
right.
still
And then
useful.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, the best tool is the phone, the mirror, your coach, and a scale. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And the problem is that if you only weigh once a week, you lose that week to make adjustments. I like to step on the scale every morning, although the most important weight is check-in day. But realistically,
Yeah.
if you hire a coach who can give you that objective criticism and look at you like, nah, man, you're not as
Yep.
lean as you think you are, not as lean as your homies are saying. Case in point, I went to the show 6 weeks later. I probably got down to somewhere between 5 and 8% or so, but like I didn't win the show. Like I wasn't, so I clearly wasn't like I was lean enough. I wasn't big enough, dude. Um I was natural back then. I don't talk about it too much, but I was natural and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I was 170 pounds on stage, dude. This year for PSL, I got
Jeez.
198, but like I was walking around at 209. It's a much different look. Because
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to step on the stage again one day. So I look forward to that for you, man. I hope you enjoy the experience. So 203, are you doing bodybuilding or are you doing classic physique?
Plastic physique is what I want to do. My coach is concerned that with the muscle density I have from Strongman and the muscle that he's been adding for bodybuilding, that the classic physique weight limit might not be feasible. So we're going to do the classic physique posing practice and stuff like that. We're going to target classic physique. But if I don't make weight, and he's stressed to me that that's a possibility, then I would just go with open bodybuilding. I think it's what is it, 220 is the weight class for that I'd fit into. Um, and he says the open bodybuilding posing is easier. So if I
Yeah.
practice for classic physique, it's not like it's going to be an easy transition over. So classic is the target, but the contingency plan, the realization or acceptance that that might not happen is there.
If if you make weight, any chance you're gonna jump in both? It's NPC, right? You're doing NPC,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. NPC.
so it's
I'm
like an
signed
extra
up for
hundred
like
bucks. You can
five
do two
different.
classes.
Yeah, I didn't sign up for True Novice, not as like an ego thing, but I feel like the True Novice is really for people that are getting into any kind of strength sport for the first time.
Sure.
So I am in the novice division, which is people that are newer to bodybuilding. But true novices, you can only do it if it's your very first show. And to me, that it'd be like a power lifter with a 600-pound deadlift going into a novice strongman show. Like
Yeah.
the novice strongman shows are really for people that are kind of new to lifting, not it's your first strongman show. Like if you're strong enough to do open, like I never did a novice show in strongman because I waited so long to compete. By the time I did, I was strong enough that the open weights were okay. So if you come in and you're beyond that point, like yeah, technically you're allowed to sign up for it, but it seems like kind of a dick move to do so.
Yep.
So I signed up for novice. A couple of the open. I think there's like 35 is where the masters division starts in bodybuilding. So I
Oh,
signed up
that's right.
for
Yep.
masters. For the open age, like I did the open, just the
Yep.
normal one. There's like a veteran one, which as a Navy veteran, I signed up for that one. I figured that'd be kind of fun to just compare myself with those guys, and I think that might be it.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, see where you fit in. There's a lot to unpack there. I'd love to talk about all that.
Yeah,
Because I have the experience. See where you
yeah,
fit in, and then like, dude, maybe the Navy one was more fun, and you can go do like maybe they have a Navy pro show now. I don't know, but like maybe
yeah.
you
That's
do
the thing. They do
masters.
have a lot of yeah,
Maybe you do the open. Maybe you do great in the open. And you're like, hey, I'm gonna try. If you catch the bug, right? I know you're a strong man at
yeah,
heart, but you might say, shit, man, like I want to go try and get a pro card in bodybuilding, which is badass. The true novice thing, they didn't have that when I competed 6 years ago, but it's absolutely beneficial because man, there's these guys that would do novice, and like there was one kid local to me. He won a novice show in Rhode Island, very small show, but he won it. And it's like, dude, you're not supposed to do novice anymore. He went to New York City and he did novice again. And luckily, I didn't call him out. I kind of mind my own business, but it's like, dude, I remember you from
yeah,
Rhode Island. Dude, he got his ass kicked in novice. And it's like, good,
yeah,
dude, I'm glad you got your ass kicked, dude, because in my opinion, dude, you're a scumbag, man. You're taking a trophy maybe away from somebody
yeah,
else. So true novice is great because, it's a barrier of entry, right? It's like strongman. We can talk
Yeah.
just like if you set the weights too heavy for novice in a strongman show, a lot of people might be too scared to jump in. If they're going to zero 2 out of 5
Yeah.
events, they might be like, "Well, I'm not going to sign up." So you want
Yeah.
shows in novice to be light enough that people can sign up, have fun, push themselves, and then catch the bug, and then work their way up to like your level.
Yeah.
You mean? Um,
Well, and that's why I don't like I've seen it before where like an international elite power lifter, like I'm gonna try strongman. So they sign up for a local show and they do novice. And like, yeah, technically you can do that, but kind of like you said, like the whole point is to give these guys the bug. And if some like actual novice strongman comes out and competes and gets absolutely wrecked by this guy, they're more likely to be like, the sport's not for me.
yeah,
So even though technically you're allowed to do a novice show if you've never done strongman, or what is it, like 3 shows you're allowed to do novice, even if you're technically allowed to do it, I do still judge people that are way beyond that point that still do it and just destroy people. I'm like,
yeah.
that this is not for you. This is
I
for these
did
guys.
see this trophy right there. It's actually a pretty badass trophy. It was my first strongman show called Champions of Atlas. I did do novice because let me get this straight. I was in the middle of cutting to 198 for a powerlifting meet. Let's call it in March. This show was in
Yeah.
February. My buddy talked me into it, and we put in a full like prep for it. Right, I didn't have a coach at the time for strongman, but I was around 218 pounds, dieting really for my wedding and for that powerlifting meet. And I hadn't
Oh
been to
yeah.
U90. I hadn't been to U90 um, ever for strength sports. I got down that
Right.
low for bodybuilding. So we were talking with my buddies, and they're like, "Oh, should you do open? Should you do novice?" I didn't want to cut to U90 because I was cutting again in 2 weeks for bodybuilding. So I didn't want to. I mean, strongman,
Yeah.
powerlifting. I'm sorry. I didn't want to put my body through that, especially being my first water cut before a strength sport. And I didn't want to go 231 because the weights were very heavy, and my buddy was competing
Yeah.
231, and a couple of good guys, including Mike Ramirez, who I didn't know at the time. So we said, yeah, do novice, dude. There's no shame in that because I mean, my total in powerlifting was 1,500. I wasn't anything special by any means. And it was an 18-man
That's already
class.
pretty good.
It was a massive class. But the cool thing, and the reason I hold my head high at least because I did win, it was an open weight. It was Joe Grossi. I don't know if you know him. He's been around the scene forever. I didn't know him at the time.
That
He was
sounds
the promoter.
familiar.
He's done a lot of
Okay.
big shows back in the day. I think at U90. I think he's like retired now, got older. Um, it was 18 guys, but it was open weight. So, dude, I went against a couple
Yeah.
300-pound dudes, and I weighed
Yeah.
215. So, like, that fair is fair on that one. So, me and 2 of my buddies, 3 or 4 of my buddies from Top Strength in Pawtucket, we would go up to the gym that was hosting it just to train in that gym once in a while, get the atmosphere, get on their implements. And Joe Grossi was there and a few people, and they're like, dude, who are these guys doing novice? Because my buddy Mark was doing novice, but he was pretty strong. He had competed a bunch of times in novice. And then my buddy Brent, who's also pretty strong, but still a novice. And they're like, who are these guys? Like, you guys aren't novices. And I'm like, hey man, I've never been strong, man. Like I
Yeah.
said, I'm cutting for a powerlifting show. And he told me, he's like, no, man, you're fine. Like, you've never done a show. But he's like, your 2 buddies have done a bunch of shows. Like, it's kind of messed up. Um, and the
Yeah.
funny thing is, we did pretty good. I think I don't know if they podied them, but whatever. So like people in that gym were like upset with us, but I was like, hey man, I'm like a true novice. But um,
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's great that bodybuilding has it. And dude, absolutely, I can tell you right now, dude, you're not a true novice. The only thing I'll tell you, if I could give you some advice, and I know you have, who's your coach? Is it Choppy Chimp? I see you
Yeah.
tagged him a
Yeah.
lot. Um,
He's
I
my
don't know.
roommate too.
Oh, really? And I'm sure they're a good coach, dude. You're looking great. Dude, make
Thank you.
sure, hopefully he's your posing coach and he gets eyes on you. Dude, nail the posing. Obviously, I know you're going to bring great condition
Yeah.
and a great look, but dude, your posing can and will cost you. It cost me in my first show. I
Yeah.
just copied people and I did the wrong hand on the hip. Like you're supposed to step forward with one leg. I put the wrong hand forward, so I looked goofy. And yeah, I looked
Yeah.
great. My friends are like, dude, why didn't you win? You looked way better. I didn't present it properly. It's
Yeah.
crazy,
Yeah.
man.
I'm actually a little nervous because I haven't started posing yet, and I still have 5 months, but really
Oh,
I
honey.
should have started a couple months ago. But yeah, my coach is my roommate. I am about to move, but we'll still live pretty close to each other. We go to the same gym. My other roommate already has his pro card in bodybuilding and men's physique, so I've got the right people around me.
Good.
But I do. We're trying to start that either this weekend or the next weekend. Get a first posing session in.
That's good. And men's physique is kind of boring. It's more like presentation like a model. I did classic and it was a
Yeah.
lot of fun. But dude, what you want to do is go through your runs, right? I'm sure you know this, but anybody watching, like,
Yeah.
dude, you get tired quickly, especially in the morning. You're going to be
Yeah. That's what
depleted
I've heard.
because you probably have to water cut, right? So and you're gonna
Yep.
you're gonna carb up, but you only have a 2 hour ish window to carb up. Funny thing is, at nighttime, everybody looks way different, just like strongman. The next day, you're
Yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so you're gonna look like a completely different human at the night show, but you have to perform at the morning show, and like you'll be hitting a back double bicep, and if they're working you guys, if there's a couple really good guys and they want to see, dude, you're holding that pose, dude, you cramp up, you're shaking,
Yeah.
like, and we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about your type 1 diabetes, so I'm sure there's different things you have to work
Yeah.
there. But yeah, hit that posing. Well, I worked with Kenny Wallach my second round of shows. He's actually I worked with him my first round of shows, and I won 2 classes. Right, not a lot of guys showed up, but it changed everything for me working with him. He's done posing for some Mr. Olympians, right? So he's one of the best posing
Oh
coaches in the
wow.
game.
Yeah.
And he would say, "Listen, you got your routine now." He said, "Practice it every morning, like 1 minute, like no more than a minute. Practice too
Yeah.
long, you're gonna fuck it up." And then obviously when you get with your coach, you practice more because you got to practice the
Yeah.
stamina of posing, holding the vacuum if you do
Yeah.
that, all that stuff, dude. Yeah. I'm excited for you, man. I think you're gonna have a blast, dude. I commend you for doing it
I'm
because
excited.
it's not easy, dude. The diet, the
No,
cardio,
it's not.
it's you the process is fun and all, but like the only time you truly enjoy it, in my opinion, is like when you're on stage, and then
Yeah.
if you're going back to strongman after, you're gonna eat and enjoy yourself, and you're gonna gain
Yeah.
a lot of that glycogen back, like in a couple days, dude. Um, what's
Yeah,
when is the
the
show?
diet for bodybuilding is so much like because again, I get really lean for strongman. It's kind of what prompted this whole thing. I was in England for the Chaos Classic a couple years ago, and uh, a lot of the guys there, we're all cutting weight in the sauna together, and they're all like, "Bro, like you look like the strongest one here. Like you look ripped. Like if you should do bodybuilding." I was like, "Oh yeah, I wish looking the strongest made me the strongest because I'm gonna get some of you guys are gonna destroy me at this thing." But it kind of planted the seed where I'm like, I should do that before I get too old. I don't want to be like, in my late 40s. Like I should have done bodybuilding. Let me try it out. But now it's like too late. And I even if I do it at that point, I have to wonder what would it have been like had I done it when I was more in my prime. And I might be a little past my prime now, but I'm still young enough where I think this would be a good experience and it could really answer the question for me.
Yeah,
Like I gotta try it at least once.
yeah.
But despite how lean I got for strongman, the diet is so much harder for bodybuilding. Like way, I knew it was going to be harder, but I underestimated it. I had to have a chat with my coach for the first phase because at first he had me on like a maintenance or a bulk phase, a very minor bulk. But I was eating over 5 pounds of food a day, like 320 grams of protein. And I had to talk to him. I was like, hey, dude, I can't do this. Not like I can't handle it, although there was some truth to that. It's like I sit right in front of my director at work. He sees me eating all day. Like guys are because I'm an engineer at a battery company, so we're working like clean rooms and stuff. You can't have water, you can't have food in there. So if I'm gonna be
Yeah.
eating, it's gotta be at my desk. So I got other guys are going into the clean rooms. And I'm just sitting there, and every time he turns around, I'm eating another meal. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my job if
You're
I
fired.
like.
Yeah.
We can keep the calories, we can keep the protein, but we need more calorie density. I need less volume because 5 pounds of food a day, I'm like literally from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, there's maybe 30 minutes between feeding at the longest throughout the day. Like I can't do that.
It's awful,
Like I
dude.
and
The
luckily
champions are good
I
with the spoon.
yeah, so at that point, I was switching over to a little. I did a short prep for Extinct Games in Singapore, and because of some guys that had dropped out, they moved me into the open weight class. So I was competing in Singapore against guys in their mid 300, pounds. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take 4 weeks. I'm going to put bodybuilding on hold for a minute. It's going to be a short prep for strongman, but I'm going to eat a lot of food and all this stuff. And so it was a lot of calorie density, not a lot of volume, but I was on my own thing. So I was able to cater to my schedule. And by the time I came back for Extinct Games, I got up to 260 pounds for that.
Shit.
And when I was done, I was like, okay, now I have to go into a cut. So I'm on his diet now, but it's so much less volume because I'm in a calorie deficit approaching this really lean body weight that now I'm able to get the meals down quicker and it's not interfering with my job. But bulking on for bodybuilding was harder than anything I've ever done food
Dude,
by
it's
far.
the number one reason why I'm not good at it, dude. Like I said, if you could eat Oreos and ice cream and be Mr. Olympia, I'd be
Yeah.
undefeated, right? But because I never really echoed these words. I always say bodybuilding prep is controlled starvation, right? But
Oh yeah, yeah,
bodybuilding bulking is controlled overeating. You literally have to force feed.
yeah,
And the real champions are the guys that can just shove chicken and rice down their mouth 6 times a day, like you
yeah,
said, 5, 6,000 calories. I can't do it, dude.
yeah. I
It's
was at a point where I was looking at getting a blender and doing the
yeah,
chicken shakes. So I was like,
people
if
do
I
that.
can drink this, it's going to be disgusting. But if I can drink this food, at least I can be at work and not be spending all my time eating.
Yep.
I would still have to eat maybe a couple of meals a day because there is, as you know, the mechanical process of chewing and stuff is part of digestion. There are actually physiological benefits to that.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be
Doesn't
able
it
to
turn something
drink
on in your
all my
brain or something?
meals. Yeah, there's a lot to it, but it would actually not be a good idea to drink every meal. But I was like, for these like maybe middle three meals, because I mean, there's a lot of meals. I was like, I might throw those in a blender and just choke them down real quick so that I'm not getting in trouble.
Yep. That's what Stan Efferding did. That he was working with Flex Wheeler. I don't know if you're a big
Yeah,
Stan fan, because Stan's powerlifting and bodybuilding,
I like
and
Stan. Stan's friends with a lot of my like mentors and coaches out here in California.
great guy. I watched all his stuff back
Yeah,
in the
he
day, and
is.
his jaw would hurt from eating steak, so he would blend it. One thing he does,
Yeah,
and I do it too. When I was trying to bulk cleanly, a little dextrose on the rice just to sweeten it and make you salivate for it. Now what I'll use is pickles.
oh, interesting.
I'll use relish. I'll put relish, which is low calorie, but I'll put relish on my rice and chicken and beef. I did it at PSL because I was eating a lot of rice. I didn't want it, but I asked, screw it, let's just get it in. But yeah, that's not me, dude. Even now, I struggle with the nutrition aspect, hitting meals, even when cutting
Yeah,
sometimes. Like I'll lean on protein bars and protein shakes and stuff, but whatever it takes to get down to 198. You got the great
yeah.
muscle maturity, you got a great shape for it, dude. I think you're gonna kill it. Just work that posing. When is the show? 5 months? What does that put you? That's like, is that like June, July, August?
Yes, May 30th, I have my first show, which will be in Reno at the Legion Sports Fest. And then 2 weeks
Those
later,
are
I
big.
think,
Those are
like
big shows.
June.
Legion puts on big shows.
Yeah, yeah, that's what my coach is excited. He tell me it'll be a good one to see what I can do because it is one of the more competitive shows. But then 2 weeks later, I'm going to do one in Sacramento. I'm going to do kind of what Sam Sulek did, where you do your debut, you make some mistakes, you learn some stuff, but you're already lean. So do another show a couple weeks later
Yeah.
and take what you learn.
Yep.
Because I mean, you can argue whether or not he should have gotten his pro card. Obviously, there's a lot of like not person popularity
Politics.
to it.
Yep.
But regardless of that, he did look way better in his second show 2 weeks later, and
Yeah.
he talked about it. Like he messed up the rehydration after the weigh-in because it's not like Strongman where you're just trying to put all that weight back on. You're not you don't want to get pull too much water in. You want to fill the muscles up, but keep the water under the skin, the subcutaneous water,
Yep.
limited. And he kind of messed that up a little bit.
They call it
His
spilling over, and it's very very easy
Yeah,
to mess that up. I've done it.
yeah. So that was a mistake he made in his first show that he learned from immediately. Then his posing trunks were too long, so he got feedback from the judges that his glutes weren't visible enough, not from not being lean, but because he just chose a bad pair of shorts. And so he got all this feedback and applied all of it in 2 weeks. Like he did a really good job of taking every little bit of constructive feedback and applying what he could, feasibly within 2 weeks. He looks like a whole different person. And
Yeah.
obviously he wasn't. He was probably just as lean, had just as you don't put muscle mass on in 2 weeks. You don't really change a lot in 2 weeks. But everything he learned, he put into that. So if I can do the same thing, obviously I'm not expecting to turn around and get a pro card like he did. But I mean, like I could maybe make my second performance 2 weeks later just way better than the first
Oh,
one. So
100
that's
percent.
kind of the game plan right now.
100%, dude. I did it. My I did 3 shows my first round, right? Just like you said, I did one, caught the bug. I used it as an excuse to get in shape for a cruise I went on with my wife when I first met my wife.
Oh
I went on
yeah.
the cruise, dude. I gained 30 pounds in 1 week, right? And then I got right back on the horse. And 2 months later, I did a show and I made it, but I carved up too much. One of the kids, he went on to go pro, dude. He's won like 6 pro shows. He's been to the Olympia like 5 times.
Oh shit.
He said, hey man, you carved up too much. You got to keep it very light, dude. When in doubt, stay shredded.
Yeah.
It's more important than filling out, because yeah, you might fill out, you might gain 5% by that peak week or day of protocol, but if you mess it up, you lose 50%. And that was me. So I
Yeah.
carved up. And personally, I loved my look. I didn't look too skinny. I felt like I looked like a little bit more manly, right? Because dude, when I was lean, I looked like a
Right.
little bit, right? But dude, I came in eighth. I got eighth out of eighth place. I came dead last. A couple weeks later, I went to New York City, pulled the diet down super tight, came in super dry, not dehydrated, but and I didn't over carb up. I kept it very light, and I won
Right.
the show, right? And
Oh
yeah,
wow.
it's crazy, dude. You'll see when you get down like Because like for strongman, what do you think your body fat is when you're cutting for a strongman show? The last like month of the show, under 10%, roughly 9, 10,
I would say right around 10%. Yeah. So
right?
I'm really lean, but it's still probably double digit body fat percent.
Yeah, and I think they say any lower, like I know like my buddy Michael Connor's always lean year round. Like I get pretty lean
Yeah.
for 90 because I have to. But like, dude, if you're training under 10% year round, it's like I don't think you have enough fat in the joints. Like you can risk injury with ligaments and
Right.
stuff, strongman. But
Yeah.
but you're very 10% is nice and lean, right? Now bodybuilding, dude, you're probably going to hit 5% the last month of the show, right? I assume you
Yeah.
kill it in strongman, you kill all your preps. I have no doubt you're going to kill your bodybuilding prep, and dude, wait till you see, like you see it at 10%. You look in the mirror every morning when you wake up, you're like, oh, I got a new vein. I got a new like striation in my belt. Dude, the last month of the show,
Yeah.
bro, every day you're gonna be like, oh, what's this? What's that? And then like if you have a little drink
Yeah.
of water one night, it's gonna be gone the next morning. It's insane what your
I,
body can do.
I'm still a little over 230 right now. So I'm 30 pounds over where I'm going to be in May. And I've never had, I mean, you can't see it in this video, but when I'm at the gym and I'll send my coach, little clips or pictures, like I've never had this kind of definition at this heavy of like usually at
Yeah.
230 I just look fat. And I like my shoulder was popping out the other day, my tricep was popping out, and I was doing a leg day. I was like, bro, like I've never seen definition like this at this heavy. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, dude, like you put on a lot of size, especially the pecs, because those were super underdeveloped in strongman. He's like, it's going to be pretty crazy when you get down there. And I'm like,
Yep.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll see
Dude,
what
you're
how it goes.
and you're probably eating a lot of carbs, lowish fat, right? You never really have to go over 70 grams of fat, right? 80 grams for the testosterone. So your
Yeah,
protein and carbs are high. So you're just full of glycogen like a true bodybuilder. Me, I eat ice cream all winter and I get fat, subcutaneous fat. When you get closer, dude, you get 15, 14, 13. Dude, it's like boom, the switch hits and like your body just changes. The fat in your face comes out. Like you're gonna have the
yeah,
death face. It is a super interesting time. It's just hard to get there, but when you
yeah.
get there, it fires you up every day to hit your cardio and make the change, especially when your friends notice. You know what's funny? I don't know
Yeah.
if you ever knew Greg Plitt before he passed. He was a big fitness influencer.
No.
Dude, he's great. He's like the most popular magazine cover guy of all time, other than Mike O'Hearn. He got hit by a train filming
Okay.
a TV show. It was very sad, but he had
Jesus.
one
Oh, I've
analogy.
heard about that actually. I've
Dude, he
heard of
was
okay.
dude, some of his like, dude, when you're deep in prep and you're on the treadmill, dude, you need motivation, dude. Find some Greg Plitt. There's all sorts of like 20-minute videos.
Okay.
He just goes on rants. Before Instagram was a thing, dude, he would do it on YouTube or his own website, and they put
Yeah.
motivational music in the background, dude, and he just fires you up, dude. He's got some of the best motivational videos. But he would
Okay.
say, like when you're getting on a diet, nothing's happening, right? No changes. He said it's like that movie Ghost. Have you ever seen that movie back in the day with Demi Moore and
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze? You know the scene where they're doing the
Yep.
clay, and dude, nothing's happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening. The clay's hard. And then all of a sudden, dude, you keep working, and boom, that clay's floppy and it's doing whatever you want. That's
Yeah.
bodybuilding, dude. Like your body, all of a sudden, dude, it's gonna switch and it's like it's an addiction, dude. It really is.
Yeah. I'm a little worried with the lower body fat percent too. Speaking of the diabetes, I've noticed with strongman too, as the body fat goes down, my insulin sensitivity goes way up, and which is good. It's good to be more insulin sensitive, but as a diabetic who's administering exogenous insulin, it can be a little dangerous. And I've already had the chat with my coach, like, hey, I need you to understand that there are certain things that you do with your athletes that might need to change for me. Like, for example, I can't do fasted cardio when I'm low body fat because the insulin sensitivity is so high, even with not a lot of insulin in my body, I bottom out.
Yep.
I noticed this when I was doing because Math McKeegan did my nutrition for a couple strongman shows near the end there, and he was a fan of fasted cardio or heavy cardio in the evenings, and it wasn't deliberately fasted, but just based on my schedule, I would go into it without food, and I noticed that within 20 minutes, I was at a dangerously low blood sugar. So like, hey, I'm gonna need to eat take some of these carbs from like meal one, move them later in the day, and eat them right before cardio, so I can have something to get me through it.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't realize is with type 1 diabetes, it's not just that you don't make insulin and you can't bring your blood sugar down. There's also like different glucose releases that you'll do when your body recognizes that it's low, then it'll bring it back up. So even without insulin, I can get to a dangerously low blood sugar because when you do cardio, it forces glucose into the cells. And so my body will also not only will it not bring the blood sugar down, but it also won't bring it up when it should necessarily.
Yeah.
So when I get to really low body fat percent, I've kind of prepared them, but even I don't know what it's going to do. So I'm like, hey, we just need to be ready to call an audible because we might try something that just doesn't work for me with my blood sugar. And I have a couple of friends that are diabetic that have done bodybuilding, so I'm leaning on them a bit too to get their experiences
Yep.
as they got lighter and stuff. And with the dehydration, like the yeah, it's on this side, the glucose monitor, it stops being accurate. Um, so you got to start doing like ketone blood tests. You start got to do the normal blood sugar blood tests to get accurate readings because it can get a little bit squirrely
Yeah,
when you
you got
get
to be
really in
be
the weeds.
careful, man. Like just no trophy on the planet is worth like your life, you know. Because like I know, like George Peterson passed
Yeah,
away the day before the Olympia. Some of these guys
yeah.
they do the diuretics and stuff. Like, dude, for
Well,
a
we
novice,
just lost Pa O'Dwyer over in Ireland.
yeah,
That was really sad.
and he I think his
And
show
he
was over,
was
right? Like,
no, he was like 3 weeks out.
oh, he was all right. I thought he did his show.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude, it's tragic. It's tragic, and we all think we're
yeah,
invincible, dude. Like I had a syncopic episode in my
yeah,
kitchen like 2 years back where I wasn't even cutting or anything. I just passed out on my kitchen floor. I'm like, what the heck was that? My dog woke me up, and I'm like, you're not invincible. Like, and it when that bill comes
yeah,
due, it's scary. Because we all want to
yeah,
push, you know. So, dude, just be careful. I mean, dude, if it's just fasted cardio, just don't do fasted cardio, dude. You'll get lean enough.
yeah,
Take the
yeah, yeah,
take the natural approach. Like a lot of the best, like Ed Helms, Eduardo Nunez, the true best natural bodybuilders in the world, dude, they can't do the 12, 14-week, 16-week preps. They do like a 6-month prep where they bring that body fat down
Oh,
over a
jeez.
long
Yeah,
time. So because they need to work on retaining muscle, right? If you're on
yeah,
ever, it's easier, right? I try not to talk about that stuff
yeah,
too
yeah,
much,
yeah.
but there's different things. But dude, you'll do just fine without fasted cardio, dude. Even me in my last prep, like I said, I'll show you pictures one of these days. I can't really put them on here, but I did fasted, but like I didn't do like the super hard stepper. I just would do a treadmill
Yeah.
incline like 4 or 5. Just don't grab the handles. Get to the point that you can't really breathe, but you can carry a conversation. Just stay there for an hour, dude. It's more about the
Yep.
steady state than the hard cardio. Just be careful, man. And then
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
as long
absolutely.
as your coach is on board, be safe. Do the first show, and then if everything goes well, maybe make slight changes. Take all the data, like I'm sure you do on your water cuts, because you're a nutrition coach as well.
Yep.
So I'm sure you're always taking
Yep.
data, analyzing data points, and seeing what works and what doesn't. Right?
Yeah, I've got all the gadgets now. I got the Garmin watch to track my steps. I've got the Aura ring to track like my sleep cycles and stuff like that. I've got the that chest strap that Conor McGregor wears that I was always making fun of, the
Oh no shit.
polar whatever it is for heart rate. So I'll get
Yep.
on I do a lot of my cardio right now, at least at home. I have an exercise bike in my room and I play Xbox while I'm doing cardio, but I got this
My
chest
wife.
strap on. So I make sure that I'm at like the very top end of zone 2.
Yep.
And I just, like you said, I just kind of park it there, find my pace and rhythm, and I stay there for the full hour.
Yeah.
And as my cardio improves, like I'm increasing the resistance, I'm doing everything to make sure I'm pushing the limit of zone 2. But I use that feedback, like you said, I got my phone on the little dashboard, and I'm making sure that I'm right at the top end of zone 2 the entire
Yep.
time.
Yeah. The best one without because before I had a whoop, the best one was somebody would say just like try to be able to carry a conversation without being too windy. So like I'll just sing.
Yeah.
Like I don't like to sing, but I'll sing under my breath at the
Oh yeah,
gym
yeah.
back before I had a whoop. I'll just to show you something, dude. I got my treadmill right there. I finished this basement about a year ago. I got my TV. I just
Oh, that's awesome.
a month ago, and I got a bike. Bro, I haven't used them yet. It's been over a month, dude, and I've been spending more time filming podcasts than watching. I because I tell myself like, oh, I want to watch Florida Strongest. I can put Florida Strongest on YouTube right now and get on my bike. What I should do
Yeah.
these days is I should get on the bike and ride the bike while I'm doing a podcast. That'd be funny, wouldn't it? Like cardio, maybe I'll do like cardio check-ins because like Nick Hines said that he's like, dude, every 5 or 6 episodes, just do a solo episode like Bill Burr and just ramble. But I'm getting plenty of rambling here when I have my guest on. It's awesome. It's like I didn't plan on talking about bodybuilding this long, but like, dude, we're both passionate about it. It's my first love, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got my bodybuilding.
Yeah, I know you had done it. I didn't know you'd done 6 shows. So you've been at it for quite a bit.
I did 2 preps, 3 shows per prep. Dude,
Oh, okay. Oh,
obviously,
you did 3 shows per prep. Okay.
yeah, 3 shows per prep. So it was like I would find up here in New England, there's a lot of shows. So like I would just find that point in the season where it's like, oh, cool, I can do like 3 shows in 2 months, so I'll stay lean for two
Yeah.
months. You know,
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
mixed
Okay.
results, but I won my class once. Steve Weinberger was
That's
head judge.
awesome.
He's the head judge of the Olympia. Dude, I cried tears of joy
Yeah,
because
that's
sadly
awesome.
I never told the story here. My roommate and I had a roommate. He was into bodybuilding, but never did a show. He was my mentor. Dude, he talked shit to me, dude. Like he talked shit to me after I posed with Kenny Wallach for the first time. I said, dude, Kenny, I came home excited, man, right? And I looked up to this guy. I said,
Yeah.
dude, Kenny said my back looks good and he thinks I'm gonna have a good chance at the show. And he goes, oh well, dude, he's lying to you because you're paying him because your back sucks. And like, dude, I was like, I don't need that negativity in my life. So what I did, dude, it's
Yeah.
weird.
What the
I was
hell?
34 years old, a grown ass man, right? Instead of telling him to go fuck himself because we were roommates, right? And he lived in my house. Um, I packed a bag. It was like literally the Thursday before the show, so I had 2 days. Went to my dad's house to do the fake tan, and I just stayed at my dad's house. I told my buddy, I texted him, I said, "Hey man, I'm pulling out of the show." I said, "I don't feel like doing it." It was in New York City, and he said, "What's the matter?" I said, "Nothing. I'm just something came up." Dude, I went to the show by myself, dude. Had to do my own tanner, all that stuff. I won both my classes. I left my phone in the car because I didn't want anybody to steal my phone in New York City, right? I hid my car keys. I
Yeah.
was there by myself, dude. I had somebody take a picture and text it to me. I won both my classes, got to pose for the overall in the novice and the open, right? Which I lost. But the head judge for both was Steve Weinberger, who is the head judge of Mr. Olympia.
Yeah.
He's the one who says whether Chris Bumstead wins or not, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
literally the best judge in the world said that I was good enough, right? Dude, I went to my hotel room, bro, and obviously low testosterone and shit. I looked in the mirror, dude, and I cried tears of pure joy, over
That's awesome.
a stupid little trophy. I think this might be it right there. Oh, yeah, I got pictures right here, dude. Like that was one of the shows I did. That one I lost.
Yeah.
Dude. I came in second. I was tiny, dude. But yeah, I got the first place trophies. I get all that, stupid plastic trophy, bro. But
No, that's awesome though.
it's all the prep. It's not about the little plastic trophy. It's about the fortitude to stick through a prep,
Yeah.
not drink beers with your homies, get up in the morning, do your
Yeah.
cardio, tell the wife, no, I don't want ice cream tonight. No, I can't have that pizza.
Yeah.
It's only those who do it, dude, know what it means, and you're about to find out, brother. I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
Um, why don't we talk a little strongman, dude? Um,
Yeah.
you've
Might
done
as well.
you've done a lot of shit, like you said. You've done OSG. You've probably done it more than once. You and I did it together.
Yeah, I did OSG twice, and it's the only two times I ever tried to do it. So the two times I tried to qualify and go do it, I did. I've done the Chaos Classic, which I did that in the second year,
The second year.
which was
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one
the
that
heaviest U90 show
CJ
there's ever been.
did. CJ win that
CJ
one.
Kraus won.
Yep.
Yep, CJ Kraus won that one. And I've done, until I switched to bodybuilding and taken this year kind of off, I did every PSL show for U90. I did a lot of the PSL qualifiers, including, I mean, I did a show in Huntington Beach. I had my U80 guy, Caden Thorstead, was competing to qualify for, or no, this was the U80 show at the
Hidden
time.
solid.
So it was the Huntington Beach, the U80 championship show. So I was down there to coach him anyway. And Tyler Purdue, he put out a thing, a week before about how, before the U80 show, there's going to be an amateur or a qualifier portion for all the weight classes. I'm like, well, shit, I'll just jump into that and do 105. Like, I'm not going to do a water cut for it, but if I'm going to be there coaching anyway, and this show is complete, like, I wasn't sure if they were running them at the same time or what, but I'm like, if this show will be done before his show starts, I might as well do it. So I just hopped in at the last second. It was me, CJ Pierce, Blake Ditas, and I think we had one other guy do it. And I didn't qualify for the PSL 105 off of that, but I made it on the top of the wait list. And so there was someone pulled out with injury, and Tyler Purdue hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I know this would be really stupid for you to do because it's right before PSL, or it was right before some other show, maybe the Chaos Classic actually. It's like in May is the in Virginia Beach, the 105 PSL. Do you want to do that? Or technically you qualify. He wasn't asking me to do it because he's like, that'd be stupid to do like 2 months before the
Yeah.
Chaos. I was like, well, that's the one with the squat, right? Like the big strongman squat with the barrels and stuff. And he's like, yeah. Like, dude, I've wanted to do an event like that since World's Strongest Man before I even knew what strongman was. Seeing those guys with those huge barrels, like this just looks cool.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, I'll do it. He's like, are you sure that's not really a good idea? I'm like, it's not a good idea, but I'm gonna fucking do it.
How do you say
And
no?
so I went out and I get this issue because it's my own fault. I have mobility issues that I need to fix. But when I squat, like just reaching back like that, it really hurts my elbow. And so I did the prep for that. It was an axle bar squat. It was 600 pounds for reps. And I basically just trained that and nothing else because my elbow was in so much pain from that. that the rest of the week, like I wouldn't be able to move. And so I did that show. I got 4 reps on the squat, which was not bad, but like Nick Hine got like 18 reps or some shit. Like it was insane.
Yeah, but four
Um,
reps probably put you in like the top 8 for that, if I
the
remember right.
the the
Some
the,
guys
the
zero.
squat on the beach at that show was one of the coolest things I've ever done in my life. Like it's just that's such a
Dude,
cool
the
like the
optics of
atmosphere, like what you're doing.
those big drums.
Yeah, and you got people passing by on the boardwalk that are just stopping, like, oh, what's going on here? And so like we had a lot of just passerby type fan. We never had like a sold out stadium watching us the whole time, but there was a whole bunch of stuff going on the boardwalk that day, and people would stick around for maybe 10 minutes and then move on. So just the number of different people we had go throughout the day was pretty high.
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if over the course, because we only did it one day outside. The second day we moved inside because of weather. But for that one day that we were outside, I wouldn't be surprised if we had over 1,000 different like unique individuals stop by for at least a few minutes
Yep.
before moving on. And so having all these people, and if I was, if I'd already gone and I was over by the wall just kind of waiting, people would like tap me on the shoulder and like, hey, what is this? And I'd like explain, like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like I tell them like what weight we were doing and like, oh, that's so cool. And they'd sit around and watch for 10 minutes. It was really cool.
Dude, you may not
But
remember.
I got
I
done with
was
that
there.
show. Yeah, yeah. I I got done with that show and I pushed through the elbow pain for so long that a bruise formed. I'd never had that happen before where I like because I would squat and it wouldn't hurt, but it would like afterwards it would be in so much pain. I would just keep doing it. So like I want to do well in this event. I don't care what happens. So I was getting body work and all this stuff to like kind of like repair my elbow. And it wasn't until maybe a month before chaos that I could actually do all like practice all the events again without pain.
Oh, for chaos.
But
Yeah.
definitely worthwhile. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I've done PSL 105, I've done PSL 90, I did Strongman Corporation Nationals at super heavyweight 2 weeks before PSL U90. So because I
Really?
qualified off a local show, so it was a lot of fun. I show up, I weigh 214 pounds. I'm competing as a super heavyweight, which they didn't like that too much. They kept trying to talk me into drop because I guess with Strongman Corporation you can go up or down one weight class from where you qualified. So they were
Yeah.
trying to talk me into going lower, so it was a little less ridiculous.
But you
But
qualified, right?
yeah, they'd call everyone over for the rules meeting, like, hey, all the super heavyweights, come on over. We're gonna get you ready for the next one. And I'd walk over and like, we're just doing the super heavyweights right now. I'm like, I know, that's what I'm here for.
Now,
And so
why'd you do
like the
that? Did
volunteers,
you
the
just want to
whole
challenge yourself instead of doing 231 or something?
yeah, no, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do.
Yeah.
I knew I was strong enough that I wouldn't just get wiped out. I mean, obviously, there's a little bit of disadvantage on like the deadlift because even at super heavyweight, it's completely different what people are good at and what they're bad at. Like Conan's wheel is one of my worst events in strongman, and it was my best. It was the most points I got at the nationals because those super heavyweights can't fucking breathe.
Yeah.
So they're like I lasted longer than
The
I
power
I
belly's
think
good for
I
long,
came in
not
like
for long distance carries.
yeah, I want to say I came in like 16th or something like that out of 80 athletes. And then on the deadlift, which I was doing pretty good at, but the the super heavyweights that aren't that good at deadlift are still pulling like 800 pounds from height. So my deadlift came near the bottom. It was such a weird coming from U90 and what I'm competitive at and what I'm not, and having it be like flipped on its head for that was wild.
Was it was it
But I
was
did
it
I
local to
did
you
beat.
or
I
did
want to say I beat like 8 people. So it's not that I went in there
you
and just got demolished. Like I still did okay for how
yeah,
light I was.
challenge yourself? Was it
Yeah,
was
it was
it
a lot of fun. I
was it like right in your backyard or something? Like did you like fly across the
no,
country for that too or something?
I flew for it. Yeah,
You're crazy, bro. Um, it's funny you say that because like I jokingly said this one year. It was like 2 years ago, maybe three. It was when they had like Clash in the Clash days. They had one Clash of the Masters show, and they had like a
yeah,
300-pound axle, 600-pound deadlift for reps. And I was like, dude, I would love because I was turning 40. I'm like, I would love
yeah.
to qualify for that show, and like I would come in dead last. But wouldn't it be cool to have like a 6 foot tall skinny dude like hit one rep on the axle and then Travis Ortmeyer and like Dimitar come up next? Like it'd
Yeah,
just be like, who's this guy? Like, how did he get here?
yeah. Well, it was so funny because Gabe Pena was one of the commentators for that nationals, and he used to be my coach. And
That's
so
great.
he's talking about he's getting a kick out of it. And so we get to the sandbag steeplechase, which this steeple the yoke height for the steeplechase is based on the weight class. And obviously the super heavyweight guys are usually taller. So the sandbag steeplechase, I want to say it was like 52 inches was the load for
Yep.
these sandbags. And I'm like, well, at my height, like I could be fully extended and I'm not even going to be over that thing. Like I'm going to need, so I knew going in, I was going to shoulder it. And it
Yep.
was a 300 and a 325-pound sandbag. So I go up and I'll send you the clip later. But I go up and Gabe Penny's on commentary and he's making fun of how not making fun of, he's actually impressed by how little I am competing with these guys. And I threw the 300-pound bag up on my shoulder and he's like, "Oh my God!" Like of course the first guy to shoulder is going to be Jacob. And so I run over, I throw it over, and I run back to the 325. And Nancy Johnson was the other commentator. And so Gabe's like, "Do you think he's going to shoulder the 325?" And Nancy's like, "I've seen him do crazier. Like, we'll see what he does." And I threw that up on my shoulder, and Gabe, just like his reaction was so incredible to me. Like, it's so wholesome having my old coach be like that impressed like that. But yeah, I threw the 325 up. I threw that over the bar. At that point, I was too gassed. I didn't get, because the sandbag steeplechase it's two loads, and I think it was a 60-second time limit. So I
That's heavyweight, dude.
I
That's
got the
heavyweight.
bag up, but
Nice.
I ran out of time. So, but no, it was a lot of fun. It was a good experience. And then 2 weeks later, I was at U90 doing the show in Virginia for PSL.
Crazy. So you jump in a lot of shows. Yeah. Yeah. The Virginia,
Yeah,
you're absolutely right. Like Tyler has the details about from tourist board about how many people walk up and down that boardwalk. Because that year, about a mile down the boardwalk, they had monster trucks on the beach. It was badass.
yeah, yeah.
I'm going to be there this year. Part of the reason I'm hyping up PSL, I'm going to MC at Baltimore and I'm MCing at Virginia Beach this year. So my job, right? My job is, you're exactly right. Because I did the same thing. I was handing out puppy calendars, right? And people would
Yeah,
ask me, "What is this?" And I'd be like, "Oh yeah, these guys. That's 600 pounds in those drums. That's like squatting 2 refrigerators."
yeah,
So when I'm on the mic, that's the type of shit I do. I do crowd work. I always
yeah,
tell the athletes, I say, "Guys, the people walking around aren't here to really see you. You got to put on a show. If you pull that energy out of them, maybe they'll give it to you, right?" And
yeah.
my job as MC is to be the pathway or the pipeline between you two, right? Because I'll work the crowd, and if
Right.
I can do my job and a good enough job articulating things to the crowd and hyping you guys up, then maybe the crowd sticks around a little bit longer. And guess what?
Right.
It's contagious. When a couple people stop, maybe more people will stop. Oh, what's this?
Yeah.
What's this? And
Yep.
and that's what we hope for. Because in between events, if there's too long in between events, people might be, I'm going down the beach. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So
Yeah.
we want to get them to stick around. But
That's what I
that
like
show was
about the
a catalog
PSL
show.
format, because when it was still Clash at the time, obviously, Anthony Furman started Clash. It was a 105 only show. But even as it spread to the weight classes, they were very intent on making the shows digestible. So
Mhm.
you'd have
Two
the
hours, dude.
Clash of the 90s, the first show that I did. Um, it was only 16 athletes from start to finish. And we did 6 events, not 5. 6 events, start to finish, less than 2 hours. And I've seen I want to say I think it was still Clash. It might have been PSL already, but I think it was still Clash of the 64s for the women. One of the most enjoyable shows I've ever watched, because it was so quick. There was so little dead time between events that it wasn't one of those things like it used to be like, "Oh, this event's over. I'm gonna run to the store and get my groceries for the week before the next event." Like that's not a good format. The big one that was criticized was, I want to say it was the Rogue, where they did the max squat, and it was like 15 minutes between attempts of like just one competitor. Like
I think that was at the
one
Arnold.
guy
Yeah,
would
the
go out
Rogan
and do a,
Arnold. Yeah.
yeah, they'd come out, they'd do a squat, and yeah, it'd be heavy, it'd be impressive. But now, like the next guy's got to get his wraps on, and all these guys are prima donnas. No offense to them, but like they got to take all their time. They're not getting them right out there, so now they're getting their wraps on, they're getting their suit set. They're going up to the. So this squat event itself took like 2.5 hours, and even with the casual fans, not just the people that compete, but the casual fans in the comments on YouTube were just tearing this event apart. Like, this is the most boring thing ever. Like, how did you
I
guys
was
make
there,
a
brother.
max
I
squat
was at
boring?
that Arnold, and it's tough. And I'm a
Yeah.
fan. I like to watch the background. You see guys get warmed up. I think Corone. I think it was before he got injured. No, I think he got injured before that. But
That
like
was
those
that was
guys,
the
like
show he got injured at.
yeah, yeah.
So
But
it
I think
was max squat followed by that log, and on the dip for the log, he tore both of his
right.
quads.
And but like I'm a
Yeah.
fan, so I stayed in the stands the whole time. But even that, like I'm because I'm a true fan, and I know some of the athletes. I don't know them, but I'm the best in their journey. I must watch
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Hey, this Thor just came. He's hanging out with these guys and this guy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
for the casuals, yeah, it's got to be quick, man, and easily digestible. Um, so you're absolutely right, dude. I love the fast shows. I don't know about you. Like conditioning's my strong. I'm not a strong guy, so conditioning. When guys don't have conditioning, they could be stronger than me. But by event 3 or 4,
Oh
they're
yeah.
toast, and every event's created equal. So I love the fast shows. If I had my druthers,
The
dude, every
fir-
show would be
the
less than 3 hours.
Yeah, that class show I did, Clash of the '90s. It was 2 hours. It was in Florida in August, so it was hot. It was like people were dying. And yeah, my two highest scoring events were two of my weakest events because they were event 5 and 6. And I knew because like Tyler Young, buddy, former coach of mine and one of my buddies, he had done Clash of the, when it was 105. And I had a couple other buddies I had talked to that had done these shows. I'm like, hey, you know that they're quick, you know that they're short, you know that you're going to need conditioning. Take the amount of conditioning you think you need, double it. And so I
Mhm.
really put a lot of work into my conditioning. So I beat these guys in these events 5 and 6, events that are not good for me because they were completely destroyed. And I was still fresh. So even though I still did like about what I would expect to do, it just performed way better points wise because
Yeah.
these guys, they were done. They didn't have anything left in them. They didn't
I
prepare for the
think
conditioning properly.
could be controversial topic, but like I've talked about it before in like my stories. I'll put a vote like what's better, like to be statically gifted or athletically gifted, or like be better at statics or better at athletics. And there's always a dichotomy between two people. Like usually the people who are really good at deadlift or overhead say they want to be a better deadlifter, but the athletes say they want to be better. Well, what's easier? Is it easier
Yeah.
to teach an athletic person how to get a big squat or deadlift, or to teach a big statically strong like powerlifter type how to be good at like a steeplechase frame
Yeah.
yoke?
I
What's
think what
that's
it
one of the
comes
things I
down
love
to it
about
is
strongman.
what are the yeah. So the thing is, when you take somebody that's really statically strong, you try and get them, and I can, there's a little bit of experience talking here. When you try and get somebody that's really statically strong to be doing like depth drops, shuttle sprints, cardio, endurance type cardio, and all the stuff that they don't enjoy, they're not going to put, even subconsciously, they're not going to be as invested in it in their training. That's the training day where they get out of the car like, ah, fuck, I don't even want to train today.
Yeah,
And like they don't want to do it. They know they have to. But like when you take someone that's really good at deadlift and you got to have them go do a deadlift training, they're excited for that. Whether they intentionally do it or not, they're going to be putting a lot of energy in it because they're ready to go. This is what they look forward to. This is what they live
yeah,
for. So there's going to be that disparity. So the people that you're going to see pick up the thing that they're not so good at are the ones that can find a way to really put all their energy into the training for it,
right.
and
Like
rather than
maybe,
just going through the motions. Because you can do shuttle sprints with very little interest, or you can do them with this is the thing that I need
intent.
to do to get better, and your result, even doing the exact, you could do it the same way in either case, but the result will still be way different because of the energy and the attitude that you put into it.
Absolutely. I think one like taking a good hard L on an event, like if you get dusted, if you're the guy, I say it to my friends, if you're the guy who's like struggling in the steeplechase at OSG this year and you can't finish the last bag or even the third bag, it's like, man, you took the whole 60 seconds, the crowd's watching, your mind, you're like, I bombed. Whereas it's a little different on a deadlift AMRAP. You do 5 or 6 reps, you're like, hey, that's all I
Yeah,
had, right? You don't want to be that guy. And you want to be the guy that finishes
yeah,
and has some wind left to celebrate and look at everybody else suffering because I love the athletic stuff.
yeah,
And for me, what's great is I'll double down on the moving stuff, right? And try and make my name on that shit. But like I'm excited to go train. Like my deadlift sucks, my back hurts all the time, but I'm excited to get that better. But I love hitting overhead, dude. Overhead's my favorite thing to train, and I'm getting better at it.
yeah,
So like if I have overhead on a Monday, I'll hit my event days on Saturday and I'll crush the athletic conditioning cardio. And then overhead day, I'm just excited to go train that log, even though I suck at it. So like
yeah.
maybe it's lucky for me. Whereas if you're really good at a log and deadlift, and you really hate training, dude, you can't make somebody fall in love with a max distance sandbag carry,
Yeah.
or three
Nope.
steeplechases in a row. It's like, hey, coach, we only have one steeplechase at the show. How come you have me doing 3 comp weight runs today? Well, because you need the conditioning, especially if the steeplechase is event
Yeah.
3 out of 6. You need the condition, right? So,
Yeah.
yep, that's what I love doing, dude.
That's why I like strongman more than powerlifting. I think strongman is a lot more interesting and it's a lot more demanding of different disciplines.
Mhm.
So you do have that exciting that dynamic where you have someone like you who's better at the athletic stuff, or someone like me who's better at the static stuff and not so much the athletic stuff. And depending on the show, depending on how it's set up, and there's 5 events, 6 events, you might get 3 athletic events and 2 strength events, or 3 strength events and 3. So it's going to be different each time, every time you compete. And
Yep.
I think that just makes it a lot more exciting. There's a lot more strategy to it than
Mhm.
powerlifting.
And dude, don't get me wrong, man. Like, cause like you're a very good deadlifter. I'm not, right? We went against each other. I think I beat you on the sandbag sled push. You beat me on the deadlift. I think you beat me on a couple of events.
Yeah.
But like deadlift, dude, it's much more badass that you can say, hey, I can deadlift 750, whatever. I know you can deadlift a lot, 725, 750, 800, whatever it is. I can deadlift 675. But if I beat you by 5 or 6, 7, 8 places on a carry, it's the same points as the deadlift. Yeah, carry doesn't look cool, But on the score sheet at the end of the day, it's how I can maybe creep up on somebody. Because I think you hit both Trump lifts at OSG, right? The last year
I did the log, and, yeah, and the deadlift as well.
and the
Yeah,
deadlift. And I
I
did
only got one
one.
rep on the deadlift, but I got 3 reps on the log.
Yeah, right. So that log that probably got you a lot of points. You were probably top five or
Yeah,
six on that event, right? If I'm guessing,
I
I'm
think I
going.
was I think I was top 10.
Right.
There
That's
were a
and
few
that
guys that tied me, and so we kind of all got in
and
like
then
a
I
four-way
was
tie or something.
I finished right behind Lancaster. We were the top of the non-Trump guys on log, right? And
Yeah.
then and then you hit the Trump on the deadlift. I didn't. I hit the lower weight for 4 reps. So like, dude, you were way ahead of me. I think you beat me by 6 places, which is a lot. Don't get me wrong. But I crept up on the stupid sandbag carry because you
Yeah.
also. I'm pretty sure you also beat me on yoke because I did terrible on the yoke. So it's just crazy with strongman
Oh, the
math
car.
how it works because you are so much statically stronger than me, but you beat me by 6 spots, right? Like it's
There's
crazy.
guys at local shows, natural guys that have beaten me, and like my deadlift might be 300 pounds heavier than theirs, and my overhead press might be 60 pounds heavier. Like big numbers, big disparities in our static strength. But I'll come in like dead last on like a moving event, and it's like their best event. So points wise, they
It's
end up
cut, yeah.
beating you by like 2 points, and they'll give me shit, and I get it, and
Yeah.
it doesn't like mess with my head too much because I the other thing that strongman kind of pulls into it that powerlifting doesn't is the roster of people that you're competing against because it's not just about who you beat, it's how many people came in between you guys for the for the for
Yep.
the scoring. And so there are times it was like, yeah, I'm just my moving events have gotten way better than they used to be, but I used to be like a turtle with
Yeah.
these moving events where I think it was Aaron Fondry had commented on one of my sandbag carries in training, like, bro, I could have gone and made a sandwich by the time you finished that. And it was just like one single run. And I'm like,
Yep. It's weird. Like we were talking about like silver line, but like you said it perfectly. Like because you need strongman math, you need people sometimes to slide in between you. At OSG,
yeah,
I got second on the steeplechase in 42 seconds. Third place, my buddy Damon Curtis. You know Damon. He got
yeah,
I think 57 seconds. And so in 16 seconds, nobody's because I needed to catch points on Damon, right? I was never going to catch him, but
yeah,
I wanted to chip away. Nobody came between us. Same on
yeah,
stones, right? Like if one guy, I don't want to keep saying names, but like one guy, he didn't have a great stone run, right? But he can deadlift 800 pounds. It's like, dude, if he just finished, he did the first 2 stones in 7 seconds, but he couldn't get the
yeah,
third one. He just couldn't figure out the puzzle.
yeah,
It's like, dude, even if you got that in 45 seconds, it would have vaulted me up like one place in the final standings. It's like
yeah,
sometimes you need the help. Unless you win every event. If you're so good
yeah.
that you win every event, you don't need anybody's help, right? But
Yeah, I'm not
I,
going to
I
name
love it.
names, but people will know who I'm talking about probably. But you'll have people in the sport that are just incredible deadlifters. And like, hey, dude, you're already winning or coming in the top 3 on the deadlift at every show. So maybe you should put less effort in your training into your deadlift. And like this might be someone with like a 760 pound deadlift, but maybe their overhead press is under 300. I'm like, do you understand that by adding 10 pounds to your overhead press, you're going to pick up so many more points
Oh
than if you
yeah,
were at another 100 pounds on your deadlift? Because when you're already winning an event, when you're already at the top of that event in the sport, you don't get anything else from increasing that lift. You need to
yeah,
focus on the stuff that you're not good at. Because if you're giving up, and that's how I've done it. That's how my movie events have gotten better. I mean, my overhead press used to be one of my weakest events. When I started strongman, I had a mid 500s deadlift, but my overhead press was under 200 pounds.
really.
And so, yeah, so actually,
Yeah,
me and CJ Krause are similar in this, is that we both had overhead press as one of our worst events. And we both put so much focus into it because it was a weakness that now actually tend to score more on overhead press than I do on deadlift. So when you have a glaring weakness like that and you keep putting a lot of effort into what you're good at, it's that's not you can do that in powerlifting because in powerlifting every pound matters. But if you're already at the top of it in strongman, you keep putting effort into that event, you're just screwing yourself
yeah. I
over,
say it.
long term
Say
because
it
you're
all
not
the time.
picking up any points.
What's funny, bro, is you said we don't want to say names, right? Um, self-reflection is like people will hear that and think we're talking about them. But what's funny, dude, is like there's probably 30, 40, 50 people that'll watch that and think we're talking about them.
Yeah.
Because like, dude, it's a lot of people, man. It's a lot. Like I have a friend who did OSG with me, and I could say his name, right? Because we're friends and I love him, right? He's my
Yeah.
training partner. But I said, hey man, like your log is already really good. Like you're probably not going to hit the heaviest trump log, but you know you got the mid one for reps. So like, dude, stop training your log so hard. You need to start training your
Yeah.
sandbags. And I said, I said, I love you, bro,
Yeah.
but you are going to be one of the guys that fails somewhere between the second and fourth bag. You're going to be doing this shit and dying on your shield while the crowd's just like bored and you're at 60 seconds. And you're going to finish and collapse and be like, oh, what happened? And it's like, dude, we know what happened. You didn't train that event hard enough,
Yeah.
you know. And a case in point, like I got one rep at 290 this year at Masters, right? That's the middle log, dude. I got third place again,
Yeah.
third place. Like had I gotten two reps, I would have gotten broken the tie with Damon because Damon got one rep. But like so, it's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
unless you know you're gonna bang out that trump log, it's
Yeah.
not worth it, dude. Put the effort in the
Yeah.
frame or the steeplechase, you know. But people love what they love, you know. They want to get better at.
Yeah. And that's the thing is people, the things that you're good at, you're going to enjoy training more.
Yep.
It's going to make better Instagram reels. It's going to, I get why people do it, but it's the wrong attitude. It's the wrong perspective if you're trying to perform better overall.
Yeah, it's one of the things I love about PSL. I've talked about a couple guys like, dude, my 90 show, the championship, 6 events, it had 12 different disciplines because every event was like a medley, you know? Dude, it was
Yeah.
awesome. Other than deadlift and sandbag gauntlet, it was medleys, 12 events in one 6 event show. And it was just awesome to train for it, like mixing up all that stuff. I love it. I
Yeah.
love I'm very well, I'm not great at any one thing, right? Probably moving in general, but I'm decent at everything. And that's how I did
And
it.
that ends up being better than being a specialist. You can't be a specialist in strongman. If you want to be a specialist, go to powerlifting.
Yep. So I keep chipping away on the statics, dude. And like you're more like just you're probably chipping away on the carries and the moving type stuff.
Yeah.
And then those little for statics, the nice thing about statics is it's easily visually represented and like it's easier to know, like, oh wait, I can my max is 300. Now my max log's 310. Cool, 10 pounds.
Yeah.
Whereas it's tough to know how much you improved on a moving event because they're all a
Yeah.
little bit different. They're never the
Yeah.
same unless it's maybe a max distance, 300-pound sandbag carry, you have a distance, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I love about strongman, dude. Because I did I did bodybuilding for like 3 years. Then I did powerlifting for like 3 years, and now I'm entrenched in strongman. I will go back to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
I say one big injury because like for men's physique, you don't have to train legs hard. So like if I tear an ACL or
Oh,
something,
yeah.
I'll probably do what you're doing. I'll probably be in the gym doing all seated exercises and machines, getting ready to get the
Yeah.
X shape for men's physique again. You know, because I will be back. My wife is upstairs. She says no. She hates the diet. It's funny because
The diet is rough.
I talked about it with somebody. I think it was today or yesterday. Um, Prepping during COVID, right before COVID hit. I was prepping for a powerlifting meet. 1 week out, the meet got canceled, and we were like, "Well, that sucks."
Yeah.
But we're like, "Dude, let's get in the garage gym that we all went to. Let's have a mock meet, and we'll have donuts and pizza after, and hit a new total." Right? It was my first powerlifting meet.
Yeah.
I didn't care that the meet was canceled because I wasn't dieting for the meet. So it's like we're just getting stronger. All right, let's see how strong we are. If I was like if I was in a bodybuilding prep and I dieted for 6 months and ate tilapia and asparagus and all that shit, and then the show got canceled 1 week out,
Oh my
would be
God.
devastated, bro. Devastated.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, that was kind of the whole thing with it ended up being the big controversy with Thor setting the world deadlift record during that time. And people are like, oh, it doesn't count. It's not a show, all this stuff. And I'm like, look, when you're going for the world record deadlift and you've set aside 8 months of just hard training for that one singular goal, and it gets canceled because of this, global thing that no one could have anticipated, and somebody gives you an opportunity to do that, of course you're going to take it.
Yeah, you
And
can't
it's
blame.
weird to me because,
Yeah.
for one, this is a hot take. I actually prefer world records to be set outside of competition. I prefer they're set in that sort of way, or like as an exhibition lift during a show. And the reason for that is if you think about when Eddie Hall broke the deadlift record, it was at Europe's Strongest Man, I think, one of the times.
It's the first event,
And
right?
I think it was the first event, but no one knows who competed in that show. No one knows who won that show that year.
Yep.
Eddie Hall's deadlift was the primary promotion for that show. Eddie Hall's deadlift is the only thing people talked about with that show. And 2 weeks later, Eddie Hall's deadlift was the only thing anybody could remember from that show.
Yeah.
I think when you set a world record, now when like say back in the day when Zadrunas Savickas set a world record on a max lift during World's Strongest Man, it wasn't promoted that way. It wasn't planned that way. It was like an organic, like, hey, this has never been done before. But when they started like headhunting, when they started like targeting world records, and it would be something that was built up for months and months and months and all this stuff, I think it started to take away too much from the actual show. Because anytime these big records were set, that they pretty much they stole the show. No one knows what else happened. And Europe's Strongest Man, that's a pretty big title.
Yeah.
So for somebody like for people to not remember who won that is crazy to me. So I would prefer that these world record lists be kind of isolated into their own thing. If we're going to go for them that hard and people are going to be a big enough fan of them, I say make them their own thing. Do a record breakers list. Do an exhibition thing. You can have multiple people there, and that would be fine. The other criticism I have with that, people talking about like, oh no, Eddie Hall still has the world deadlift record. Like, no, because they still catered to like because like he did it in a real show. You can't control stuff. He's still like what was it? You had what was it? Jerry Pritchett and I think two other guys that were technically going for that record also. And those guys had to wait 30 minutes before attempts because the whole event was was accommodating Eddie Hall. So when he pulls his record, and there's still guys that haven't even tried it yet, but they want to do it, they have to wait for the 30 minutes while they're interviewing Eddie Hall and
Oh
doing
yeah,
all the
yeah.
TV for Eddie Hall.
Medic crew had to
So
get
they
to
came
him.
out
Passed out.
and they weren't warmed up anymore. They got cold. I'm like,
Yeah.
so yeah, Eddie Hall did it in a competition. He didn't do the rest of the show. He dropped out. So he didn't do the rest of the show. He did it in a competition, but it was still catered to him
Yeah.
as much as Thor's deadlift
I
was
would
to him.
say
So
I like that where like you have it in a separate event, you can really peak for it, prep for it, and then if the person wants to do the show, great. With Thor, you can't be mad at Thor, right? Thor was given the opportunity,
yeah,
sanctioning body
it
said
was
it would
sanctioned.
count.
Yep.
Who would say no? Controversy sells. They both got rich off of it. They had their fight. How many interviews
Yep.
have they done? Right, and they're both more popular than ever. I'm glad that
Yeah.
Thor came back. I think what's more impressive than him hitting it originally is what Thor's done recently because, dude, he left the sport for 4 or 5 years, came back,
For a pack,
and
it
like you
lost
said,
all that
dude,
weight. Like,
the only reason people remember the show that happened a few months ago, and I watched the whole thing, is because Thor did the deadlift and he won the show. So he really
yeah,
put a stamp on it. Like
yeah, he
Eddie
did.
set that bar and did something that nobody in human history. I think he broke it by what 50 kgs or 40. Like
Yeah, well, he's also the first one to do 500, which I still think is a huge
it's an
achievement. That's like
incredible
being the first
feat.
guy to run the 4 minute mile. It's
Yeah,
like that's still no one can take that from you, even if
one
it's a
doesn't have
speed.
to take away from the other. Even like
Right.
body type and
Yeah.
stuff. Like Thor is just a massive human. We put that mass on.
Yeah.
Or maybe Thor should be a stronger deadlifter, but um, yeah, it's you can't please everybody, dude. Right? Like
No, you
people, no
can't.
matter what, people will always have something to say. I'm a fan of both of them. And when they were fighting
Yeah.
about it, it's like, well, what are the odds that they had like one fake plate mixed in there? I don't think that happened. But
Yeah.
you had I think Magnus called it, so you had a legit judge.
Magnus was the judge.
Not like
Yep.
it was Thor's dad calling the lift, dude. It was a legit lockout. Like, dude, the
Yep.
lift was legit. Could Eddie have
Yeah.
a gripe? Absolutely, right? But um, yeah, it's tough. It's tough with judging and stuff with down commands and things like that. That's what's great about like
Yeah.
with timers. With PSL has lasers, we've talked about many times, but like with
Yeah.
lockouts and one rep, like with internet and videos, dude, people can slow things down. It's
Yeah.
crazy how much people like slowed a recent video down in Minneapolis, right? Like you can make it
Yeah.
like anything with the slow
For
motion, right? It's human eye, it's judges
yeah.
kind of have to accept.
For the big shows, I think the laser timing was long overdue because you have some of these medleys in a show like OSG or like PSL where the difference between first and fifth place is less than a second. And if you're using hand timers for that, like the lane judge timing you could have cost you whatever the prize money is in a given year in a given show. It's like that's when you're talking about that kind of money and that kind of difference in time, like you got to have something more precise
Yeah,
than that.
I would much rather have. Well, it's like back to bodybuilding, dude. Like you you're gonna cut for your bodybuilding show, and you're gonna look in the mirror, dude. And you're gonna love the way you look, dude. You're gonna be like, dude, I love my delts, I love my abs, whatever, right? That was me. I'm like, dude, I love the way I look, dude. And then you're gonna get on
Yeah,
stage, and a judge or three, four, five judges, panel of judges, they may not agree with you. You might look at the guy you're going against and be like, yeah, I'm better than him, right? But like the judges may not
yeah,
agree, and it's a hard pill to swallow. You're putting yourself out
yeah,
there. You have the courage to put yourself out there, but you have to accept your fate. With timers, it's the same thing, dude. You could have a this is awful
yeah,
to say, but you could have a judge of somebody in a lane. I won't say names again, but I've seen it where somebody's girlfriend was the one doing the timer at a national show, right? It's like, dude, maybe you click that timer a little early for him, right? And I don't think she would. But
Yeah.
then so you have the human element, you have the accident. I've seen people, I said it on a podcast before. I've seen people do a whole yoke run, and dude, they were midway through like a max weight yoke, and they're like, oh shit, I forgot to like hit the button, and then they hit it, and then they just guess what the time was. Like with lasers, you
I've
take the
seen
human
that as
element out.
well,
And I would much
actually.
rather if I forget to run through a laser and I lose a couple seconds, it's my fault, not the judges.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
like dude, people, I hate to say it, bro. Some strongmen are real assholes to the judges, dude. Like I get it, we're in the moment and
Yeah.
stuff, but some people, it's very serious, dude. Like at the highest level, man, like it's not a career, but dude, this is our life. This is what we love to do. And
Yeah.
we spend all of our free time doing this and our money. And then in that
Yeah.
moment, you take it out on a judge, and it's like it's a bad look, especially when you don't apologize after. So lasers,
Yeah.
nobody to take it out on, you know? Like
Yeah. No, I agree.
I'm
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 glad
all
that
for it, dude.
every year PSL steps up the back end of the technical stuff with additions like that, with the live stream, excuse me, like the quality of that going up. So yeah, it's good to see them make changes like that, and it kind of sets a standard for other shows. I mean, for the longest time, is when Anthony started Clash, and he's saying, "Hey, look what this could be. We're on ESPN. We're on, we're doing all this stuff." It really took a lot of the excuse away from some promoters that would still have like parking lot shows. And I have nothing against parking lot shows, but these are like supposed to be prestigious shows where they're putting very little effort into increasing the production of the show, very
Yeah.
little effort into the athlete experience, very little effort into, setting up for spectators. Like, well, this is how strongman is. And so they would always use the excuse that this is what strongman is to purposefully not improve anything. So when you have a show like Clash or now PSL where they keep raising the bar, it takes that excuse away from some of these promoters that are just lazy, not wanting to improve stuff. Because you can't say, well, this is what strongman is. Like, well, no, look at what strongman could be. Look at what they're doing. Look at how good their live stream is. Look at the laser timers they're using. Look at how they're taking away the subjectivity of the judges. Look at PSL has a replay option where you can go to your judge if it's right after and say, no, this is what actually happened. And the judge might change their call. That was never done before.
Yep.
And I think that's important because there are, I mean,
Happened for Nick Hine. Nick Hine
excuse
got
me.
a down command
Yeah.
re-judge, right? It worked in his favor. It's happened
And
with many
even
guys.
even with the Giants live crew, with like, the world's strongest man guys, we've seen shows where a circus dumbbell lockout might not be very good, or maybe it is good and doesn't get the down call. It's important to be able to go back and say, hey, look, judge, you did make a mistake. Here's the proof, and then reverse that decision. Because
Yeah.
again, it can be the difference between a lot of money. It can be the difference between, even just prestige with winning a big show.
Mm-hmm.
If you have one guy with a shaky lockout that gets a down call, and then you go right after him and you get a much better lockout, but you don't get a down call, well, that position should have been reversed. You should have gotten his points. He should have gotten yours. And
Yeah.
with the replay, that gives you that ability to do that in an objective way.
Yeah, that can be tough in a 4-lane show like OSG.
Yeah.
There's always speculation, but I get it. OSG is 400 something athletes. You have to have 4 lanes in a giant show or the
Yeah.
biggest shows. PSL this year we didn't have multiple lanes. Like if you have the same judge calling the same lifts, at least you get a little more consistency. Dude, this is a good. This is a
Yeah.
good segue. Let's you just gave me an idea, right? Like so, we don't have an athletes union, right? And I won't say we need one, right? Some people might say that, because like every once in a while when something happens, not let's not take it in a negative light. Let's be constructive here. When the prize money is an issue or somewhere, or
Yeah.
an event had really bad judging, the athletes will come out on their social medias and they'll talk shit, and other athletes will jump
Yeah.
on, and it becomes wildfire, and it becomes almost viral for a day or two, and then maybe promoters will say something. Tyler does a really good job, and I know Lynn does too, and I know James does with SC. James has done. I've never
Yep.
seen James get on camera, but I've seen him put out statements. But like what I like about
Yeah.
Lynn and Tyler will get on the Instagram. It's rare for Tyler to get on screen, but like he'll answer to things like the live stream at the 105 show and let the fans know
Yeah.
verbally, hey, I'm Tyler. He's not the face of PSL. He doesn't want to be. He wants the athletes to be. But every once in a while, you need
Right.
somebody. Things come across much better in visual representation if people take the couple minutes to
Yeah.
watch video. And I commend those guys for doing that when that stuff happens, right?
Yeah.
But at what point is there really a lot of money in weight class strongman? I don't think so. right? Until you
No.
get good sponsors and stuff. So the athletes, we could be beggy choosy, but not too much, right? If we bitch
Yeah.
and complain too much, a promoter might say, well, fuck this, dude. You guys are thankless. I'm not making any money. I do it for the love.
Yeah.
Like, I know a guy who did a pro-am. Dude, he didn't make a dime. He had 100 competitors there, and that just funded the prize pool for the pros,
Yeah.
right? And one or two of the classes only had 3 women. You still have to pay them out. And he did. He wrote the checks
Yeah.
that day, right? He did it for the love of the sport. But, like, that's what it is, man. Mostly, I think it's for the love. I don't think a lot of people are getting
Yeah.
rich on this. So, but what's your opinion on
No.
that? Like, the athletes, yes, you need to stick up for yourself and call things out. But we also, I think we need to do it in a respectful, professional
Yeah,
way.
it's a tough thing because the sport is growing. It is becoming more like professional with production. You have the good live streams, you have all that stuff, and so there is always a discussion. I mean, obviously with OSG this year, they did, or at the end of 2025, they didn't do prize money, which is a big criticism. And it's one of those things that's so tough because I can see both sides. If you want to get the best athletes in the world doing your show, there's got to be prize money. There's got to be incentive for them to do it.
Yeah.
And OSG is an expensive show to do. It's expensive to sign up. It's expensive to travel, especially for the international guys.
Yep. Vacation
So you
time.
have this, yeah, in vacation time. So you have this push and pull where, yeah, you need prize money to get the best athletes in. But it's like you said, some of these promoters are not making any money off the show. Or I know a couple promoters that have lost money, like have spent money to put on a show because when the balance comes back, they're a little bit in the red and they have to put that bill because it's not coming from anywhere else. Um, so it is tough because at the end of the day, like, is the promoter trying to like be selfish or lazy, or is this the best that like with logistically, is this the most that they could provide? And so when you have a big show, I mean, when Chaos started, which unfortunately that is mostly discontinued, I believe, the Chaos Classic. But when it
Yeah.
started, they had a big prize pool and all this stuff, and it's just one of those things where it's like people were expecting the prize pool to expand in following years and stuff. I'm like, well, the prize pool is already pretty good. Maybe they can, as it grows, they can increase the production because you guys are wanting the athlete portion to get way better, but you still have to look at the spectator portion, the promoter portion, like everything, like, all things need to improve for this thing to really be a lasting, like what OSG basically is with the big stadium and all the production value and stuff like that.
Mhm.
There's a balancing act. And it's so hard to say definitively, is this a promoter that's not in it for the right reasons, or is this a promoter doing the best they can right now? And the athletes need to show up and support it for now
Yeah.
for it to become something that can then give them these
I
big
think
prize pools.
I think these big promotions, right? We'll call it like the ones I know, right? We'll call it SC, PSL, and OSG. They've been doing a great job with the live streams, right? They all have little
Yeah,
different nuance. I think like SC in between events, it's all sponsors and ads, and they look great, but it's like 30
yeah,
minutes of ads, and it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go do something. PSL just leaves
yeah,
it right on us warming up. And what I want to try and do when I'm emceeing is I want to try and grab guys. I'm like, hey Jacob, dude, in between warm ups, you got a minute? Come talk to me on the live stream. Like let's grab the
yeah,
camera that's focused on all the deadlifts, and I'll be like, hey Jacob, how you feeling about this event? And build slowly start to build personalities. I'm not saying we need to be WWE. It's cool to have some bad guys, some good guys,
yeah,
right? Heels. We
yeah,
can't
yeah,
all be like WWE style. It gets old. But you build a little bit of personalities and you get some interest because like you might have some friends that will tune in and maybe you get some fans and like so I think we the athletes need to
yeah,
help build it a little bit. But and I do think the promoters are doing a good job of really trying to make it a spectacle, more easily digestible, more visually appealing, right? With event selection and stuff.
yeah.
I'm
I
excited to see where it
Speaking
goes.
of that point, I think that's one of the big missing pieces, and I mentioned it before we got on the cameras. The athletes promoting the shows. I think that's a big area for opportunity. And I've tried to do it in every show that I've competed in with PSL, with CAS, with all that. And I've tried to get other athletes to do it. I did commentary for PSL Masters last year in what is it, Idaho, and I before the show, like a week out, 2 weeks out, I sent out a questionnaire to all the athletes. I mean, hey, fill out this like basic information so that when I'm on commentary, because I don't know all of you,
Yep.
I can say interesting things about you. If you have a
That's all.
like maybe you come in last place on the deadlift, but you grind out a really tough rep. The audience doesn't know why that was really tough for you. You might have come in last place, but that might have been huge for you
Mhm.
because maybe you're coming back from a big injury. if
Yep.
I know about that injury, I can talk about like, hey, he barely ground that out. That's huge for him because this is what he just came back from. And I got some of that feedback from the athletes where I was able to talk about, oh, he just had, a knee injury that he's just coming back from. This is crazy that he was able to do that. And it
Yep.
might not be the winning performance, but it now adds context and it gives the audience that's watching more understanding of what's going on, and it
Oh, dude,
allows them
yeah.
to be a fan of certain athletes. Like, oh, that guy came in last, but that the way he fought that rep and what he's been through, that was awesome. And now I'm a fan of that athlete in particular. But the thing is, you'll get some athletes. Actually, Damon gave me a lot of write up for the Masters show. Your buddy Damon. So I was able to talk a lot about him. I've competed with him before too, so I knew a little bit more anyway.
Mhm.
There's other athletes that didn't respond at all. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
here's this guy.
more
Let's see
more
how
often
he
than not, they don't
does.
respond.
And I don't have much else to say because it's like I don't know anything about him. Like, is this a good
Problem
event for
is,
him? Is it a bad event for him? Like, I don't know. So I'm just
you
sitting there with everyone else. Like, he's doing pretty good. And like,
yeah,
what else
and
am I gonna say?
it's hard to fill the dead air, right? All you can do is critique the performance, and you don't want to do it in a negative way. It's something I think CJ
Yeah,
Krause does really well. A lot of strongmen are
yeah,
very introverted, right? You have to pull things out of them. Some of the interviews I've been doing,
yeah,
I think I'm pretty easy to talk to, but like it's like pulling teeth. Like some athletes, like,
yeah,
oh, I don't think I'm interesting enough for an interview. It's like, yeah, you are, bro. Everybody's got a story. Let's go. Like you're doing the show.
yeah.
Let's get people interested in you. I think it's a
Well,
reason.
even if so say you take somebody that's not that interesting, but somebody watching that interview who's not interesting in the same way is still going to identify with that person.
They might
So even
resonate
if
with
they're right,
somebody else.
even if they're not interesting, that interview could still get some people interested, could still get somebody to be a fan of them.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like case in point, dude, we talked about your type 1 diabetes. Somebody could watch this in theory that has type 1 diabetes, wants to get into a sport, doesn't know how. They're like, oh, I'm going to be a fan of that guy. We have a similar journey, right? It's a reason
Yeah,
I think like CJ Krause does such a great job because he's a fan of the 90s. So when he calls the 90s, he kind of knows them all. Like even me, he's like, oh,
yeah,
yeah, dude, he's very critical. My wife messaged me. She's like, that guy was really rude. And I'm like, no, he's calling it exactly like it is. He watched me
yeah,
fail a log in Baltimore, so when Bama said, "How's Dana pressing?" and he said, "Needs work," he's absolutely right. And then I crushed the log and like I proved him wrong. And he's very fair, but
yeah,
like you can't have. I've talked to Tyler about this, and Tyler loves the way CJ calls it because he'll call it like
yeah.
it
I
respectfully.
do too.
He doesn't talk trash. Yeah, you did a great job on the Masters. I watched that one, but like if you're just like pumping sunshine and lollipops, kind of like I do in this podcast, I try not to talk shit. I don't want to be controversial. But if you're just pumping sunshine and lollipops, it gets boring. Like if you see a guy bombing the keg,
Yeah,
it's like, hey, well maybe he didn't train it good enough. He's got to do this better or whatever. And it highlights the good and the bad. Like when in strongman,
yeah,
you want some people to smoke an event, and dude, you absolutely want some people to zero, so you can show the differentiation. It's what makes the sport cool.
yeah,
If everybody goes out there and crushes a 150-pound keg, boring. If you have a 300-pound keg and guys are like falling and it's dropping on them and shit, hopefully nobody gets hurt. That's what makes it cool, right?
yeah,
Yep. But you're absolutely right. I do that when I MC events. I'll send out I didn't do it for Baltimore. I know enough people at Baltimore, so like I'll be fine.
yeah,
What I'll do
yeah, yeah,
is I'll be working the crowd. I'll be interweaving with guys while they're warming up. I'll just ask them questions. And usually what I'll do, I'll tell people before
yeah,
the event even starts, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna bring the hype. I'm gonna ask you if you want to do a post lift interview. I'm going to get in your face. If you don't like that, because there's people who are high on testosterone and just want to hit their deadlift and leave me alone, right? I had one guy, dude, he threw a shoulder into me, dude. I thought he wanted to fight. That's fine. Just give me the look. I'll be like, hey, you want to interview? Like, no, no, no. Okay, cool.
yeah,
Some
yeah,
people, some people are just shy, but towards the end of the day, like a lot of the females too, you'll pull it out of them. They're like, yeah, yeah, come on over. I want to talk to you, you know? Because if I see
yeah.
somebody struggle on a deadlift, right, and they get that rep, I can kind of tell that that's either close to a PR or maybe you're coming back from injury or something. And like
Yeah,
exactly like you said, hey, how was that? Was that a PR? Like, yeah. I'll be like, dude, great job. And the crowd will cheer for him. And the
yeah,
sad part for me, dude, I love working crowds. At the qualifiers, there's probably not a big crowd. It's because people are traveling far away, so family doesn't make the travel. Um, so it's like sometimes like powerlifting meets, they have a decent crowd usually because people come and support. With strongman,
yeah,
especially these qualifiers are essentially regionals, right? How many people are going
yeah,
to drive from New England to Baltimore to support their nephew? So there's not that many
yeah,
people in the crowd to work. So sadly, a lot of my work will go unseen. But dude, the athletes enjoy it. Usually, the athletes
yeah,
really enjoy it, and they might say, "Hey, Dane's emceeing that show. I want to do that show." Hopefully, I can
yeah,
get on the live stream a little bit too, so some of that can shine through. So what I'm hoping to do is in at the live stream. I'm hoping, like I said, if they just keep the camera rolling, I'll just grab guys. Hey man, you got 5 minutes for your next warm up? Let's talk. How you feeling about this event? Who are you looking? Who are you excited to go against? You know, a guy like me, like I'm excited to go against Jacob McBride. I've seen him killing it. Hopefully, I can take an event from him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. Speaking of, yeah, so like social media, all that stuff. Like I'm not a social media guru, dude. I've deleted followers, but like you said, athletes hyping things up. Pro Strongman
yeah,
posts some great news, right? Like, hey, great news. We got notorious lifts for all the athletes. And then all the athletes will repost it. Like they love to come to
yeah.
bat PSL and repost it. The athletes, we could say this, dude, they're passionate about the league, right? Because it
Yeah.
really is like almost like for the athletes, by the athletes, kind of.
That's the thing is PSL has always been a really great athlete experience. And athletes really resonate with that. And I think that can sometimes go further than things like prize money.
100%.
When they understand that the promoter when they get that direct feedback, that undeniable, oh, they really give a shit about the athletes because they're going out of their way to do all this stuff. Versus promotions that might say they care about the athletes and then their actions they don't.
Mm-hmm.
So people will go to bat for PSL because I mean everything that they do from the time you get there to the time you're done is really catered to the athletes, and they're not, you get a really great warm up area. You're not getting rushed with anything. They're very clearly communicative on everything. They're really good at hyping up the athletes and putting out the information. Um, like you said, providing some stuff from the sponsors. Like we always get like call them like goodie bags or whatever with like pre-workout, and you get like certain sponsors will give products. Um, and just the way that they present the athletes, the way they do the commentary, the way they have the name and the athlete picture and a little bit of information about them. The way Jen's always doing the interviews with the athletes. I mean, my favorite one is Jake Allen. He finishes the frame
Bench
carry.
press, right?
It's like, oh, frame carry. Like, how did you do it? He's like, oh, I just been doing a lot of bench press, and that interview cracks me up every time. I love
Yep.
that clip. But it's things like that that get the athletes involved, where they're not just
Yeah.
a number. And there's not, and it's also PSL. Like you go to the PSL championship, you don't have 60 athletes, 100 athletes, 200. Like it's a more
Exactly.
intimate. You have like 16 guys, and it just makes the whole thing a lot more fun, a lot more
Right.
exciting. And they're not assholes to you. And you're like, hey, I'm running a little bit late. I'm going to try and make the weigh in at whatever time. Like Tyler will bend over backwards to make sure you get weighed in. Whereas these other shows, like,
Tyler
well, we gave you the window, you didn't make it.
Tyler
Screw
is
yourself. He's like,
he's very accessible, and that could
yeah,
be by virtue of not having a national roster of 1,000 athletes, including novices, like maybe
yeah,
other org. There's so we have to say it this way: there's an ask for every seat, right? You absolutely need
yeah,
USS to be a kind of like a feeder league to an SC, and then you have OSG of all these
yeah,
leagues. But by not having novices, you have qualifiers, and I bet you anybody from these qualifiers who messages Tyler with a question gets an answer, right? Whether you're coming
yeah.
up the ranks or you're Jacob McBride, who's been to 3 or 4 of the biggest shows. Tyler's very accessible. Will he always be
Yes,
able
he
to?
is.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't see PSL having a 2,000 athlete roster because guess what? He
No.
probably wants to cap each show at 30 of the best athletes in the world. If you have 12 weight classes, that's 360 athletes, right? And you got some people knocking on the
Yeah,
door trying to get in. So he should be able to be accessible and provide something that maybe other leagues can't. And there's nothing wrong with other leagues not being able to provide that experience because
no, they each have their
there's
role, their
different levels to
purpose.
this stuff, you know. And I
Yeah,
love what he's
yeah,
building.
yeah,
So does Tyler Davis and Meg and all these champions. There's a
yeah,
reason people coming back. Now, what I was getting at, I said it before, and you'll agree, people will repost, but they don't tag the league. So it's like it just dies.
yeah,
It's like you guys put Pro Strongman League in the bottom of your story, and then Tyler
yeah,
maybe he won't want to repost it, maybe he will, but that's what gets the algorithm going. Make a comment, dude. Comment a
yeah,
fire emoji. If Tyler's post, people repost it more than they comment on it. Comment just
yeah,
something stupid like a fire emoji or let's go to Baltimore, let's go to Texas, whatever.
yeah,
Like pump that algorithm, dude. Get it going. And people, sadly, dude, and hopefully like we can change this by personalities, right? Because you helped out with what I'm about to
yeah,
say. Tyler has posted, and I've said it before, but it's an important thing to me. Tyler's posted charitable partners, right? But he doesn't want to
yeah.
hand the people over the face saying, hey, please donate, please donate, please donate. Tyler can't be the beggar, right? It should come
Right.
naturally. Now, guys like you and me can repost and say, hey, how come nobody's donated to this Canines for Warriors, man? That's a great cause. Even if it's
Yeah,
only $5. If every PSL athlete donated $5, it's probably $1,000 that could change a veteran's life, right?
yeah,
So I shamed kind of, I went on, I'm like, hey, what's going on here? This has been posted 3 months ago. but people just scroll through subconsciously, right?
Yeah.
And they maybe don't see it and don't donate. People have no problem doing their training videos and tagging PSL. Dude, some guys who train for these championships, they tag PSL every day, every day. They want to get
I tag him in
repost.
all my bodybuilding stuff, a lot of
Right.
it.
And dude, he reposts you, right? He reposts bodybuilding stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's reposted people who are training for SC nationals. And it's like, dude, this is PSL, not SC. But it's an athlete that did PSL and cares about PSL. So
Yeah.
Tyler repost it, right? Tyler is PSL. There's no social media guru, but it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like the attention span of people. And dude, you donated. I made a thing, and I
Yeah.
just said to my buddies up here in New England, hey, if you've done PSL, donate. And we raised a quick couple $100. Dude, I think it's when I started following. You donated $100. I think it was the
Yeah.
Canines for Veterans, and you reposted it. And then guess what, dude? A few of us reposted it, and it goes on the story. And then a couple of people, wow, that's a great cause. Let me donate. And then in one day
Yeah.
of me just saying something, we raised $500 or $600 for Canines for Warriors. So it's like the attention span. Sometimes the athletes need to step up, and we don't have to do it with our money. But I think you'll like this. Like if what if, and I say it all the time, guys, but I try and get into our subconscious, right? I'm not trying to become Instagram famous. I want to do this for guys like you. I've done interviews with guys who I've never met before, who have that's their second or third show. I want to give everybody a voice. But what if
Yeah.
someday a big sponsor sees PSL and says, "Oh wow, the athletes like this. What is this? There's like 60 stories. Like these athletes raised $1,000 for veterans, and maybe there's some billionaire
Yeah.
veteran out there that says like, what a great group of athletes. I want to volunteer and
Yeah.
sponsor PSL, and then guess what? When you get more sponsors and more good people, you get more money, more prize money, more stuff, right? Better venues, better hype reels, better videos,
Yeah.
t-shirts, all the stuff that comes along with it. So hopefully we can build that, dude. Just got to keep hammering away, you know what I mean?
I
And
mean,
you're
it's been improving
you're a
every
great
year.
ambassador of the
So
sport, dude. I'll say that to you.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Awesome. We need more guys like you out there. Tyler Davis, Nick Hine, who jumped on. But there's some really great people out there. Dude,
Yeah.
we're at an hour and a half, right? I got a few more minutes because I got
We
to
are.
get it. Dude, I told you we have a laundry list of stuff
It
that we
goes
kind of wanted
quick.
to touch on. I'd love to have you on again.
Yeah.
Maybe,
I was
maybe
saying
I
we
could
could
have,
do future interviews.
yeah, dude, I could have you on as like maybe right after the qualifier. I'd like to do some post qualifier
We'll do
interviews,
like a
but
recap. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
also going to start, and I will try and keep those quicker, like focus on a recap only. I am going to
Yeah.
have some of the European guys on, hopefully, to hype that show up. I want to talk to some of my friends about the Arnold. I'd love to talk to you about bodybuilding, dude. Like this is
Yeah.
just me talking to my friends. I'd love to have you back on and talk about your experience at the show. So we can talk about your experience at your bodybuilding show. But like real quick, we got a few minutes. Dude, you recently did the Singapore Games. You talked about that. How was your experience
Yep.
over there, dude?
Oh, yeah, no, extinct games. That's an incredible thing because Singapore is a small country. And going there, I realized how small it is. They do a lot of vertical expansion because they're just running out of space. I had an Uber driver tell me that you have to buy, it's $100,000 to get a certificate to be allowed to buy a car,
Really?
to limit the number of people that are driving because it's such a small island. So we're over there, and this is their second year doing extinct games. It's no one really thinks of Singapore as a strongman country, so I didn't really know what to expect. But they did an incredible job, and I think a lot of the promoters in the U.S. could learn some things from them. Like their athlete experience was incredible. They took us out. They did a photo shoot near some of their like Parliament buildings
That's
out
awesome,
in
man.
these parks. They're driving us around on buses. The whole thing was in like this big expo with like they had like pole dancing, they had high rocks, they had the like calisthenic stuff, the pull ups and the levers and stuff. And so we're in this big sports festival. People are coming by, like it's super crowded. People are watching us do our thing. They've got, they're doing all the standard, like, hey, what's the weight on the little flip card so that people walking by can kind of understand what we're doing.
Yep.
But the way that they communicated with us, the way they did the pictures, the way they did the videos, everything was absolutely
It
incredible.
looked it looked top notch,
Um,
like that aspect of it. Yeah.
yeah, there was a trip the day after the show to Indonesia that I ended up not going on because I was in too much pain.
Oh,
But they
oh yeah,
even
you
did
went
that. They like
heavyweight, bro.
yeah, they handled all the documentation stuff like that to get everyone over to Indonesia. They booked all the travel. They gave us the itinerary, like, hey, for the couple hours here, you're going to be off on your own. Here's the types of things you might want to see. They did the same thing with us for Singapore itself. Like, hey, if you're going to be here for like the week before, here are some attractions you might enjoy. Here's like some good food spots and stuff like that. They just went like way above and beyond for the athlete experience portion of it, and it was expensive, and it was all inclusive. Like they your registration included the hotel, all the bus travel, like all that stuff. So it was expensive, but you really got your money's worth.
Yeah.
And just an incredible experience. One of the things I really like they did with the spectators, they put way later versions of everything we were doing in a little space kind of portioned off near the show. So while we're doing like the axle clean and press, they have an axle with like maybe 60 pounds, like a 60-pound axle that people can kind of mess with. They had Atlas stones that people could kind of like from like
That's
40
awesome.
pounds all the way up to 120. So that random people, even kids, were coming up to these things and trying them out. And like, so they're doing like a version that's like, maybe a fifth of the weight that we're doing.
Yep.
But it allows them to really, even if they've never heard of strongman before, now they're getting an appreciation for what we're doing. It's like, man,
Yeah.
that was like way lighter and that was so difficult. Like, I don't understand how they're doing that. That's crazy.
Do it, yeah.
And
It's
so
awesome.
we had a lot of.
I did that with Camby Dude did a super total at my local gym, and I think he did like a 340, 50-pound Viper. This is a couple years back. And I said to the crowd, hey guys, because it's small,
sounds like him.
I said to the crowd, I'm like, guys, this is like lifting a refrigerator we had. I said, anybody want to come up and touch it and like just see what it feels like, right? And a couple guys did. A couple guys came up and they were like, what the heck? And Camby just, how was the crowd? Did they have a decent and it doesn't have to be a big crowd, but like you could tell when people are kind of passionate about what they're watching. It's like a cultural thing sometimes. Like I know my brother spent a lot of time in Japan. All right, this is a good one. UFC and Pride. Like Pride fighting, dude, like the fans, they fill the stadium to watch the fight, but they're all very polite, but super into it. Like, was it kind of like that? The fans were really into it?
I would say so. Because it was a big expo floor, there wasn't a lot of seating for spectators, but there was a lot of standing room. Yep. And we had like the whole perimeter was packed the whole time. That's all these little this station where they had all the like light versions of the events for people to try out. I don't think I ever looked over there or walked through there without seeing at least one person, usually with a line of people waiting to try it. But like the entire weekend, people were trying this stuff out, and then they try it out, and then they go stand over by the thing and watch what we're doing, or they try it out, or they'd be about to, and they'd see someone's about to start, and they'd stop and they'd watch, and then they'd go back to it. Like they were pretty invested in. Again, it's kind of like Virginia Beach. I don't know how many people were there because there wasn't like a stands to look at to kind of guesstimate that out. But you could see people constantly stopping, and there must have been thousands of people throughout the day, like unique individuals. Even if they stopped for a couple minutes, people were constantly watching what we were doing. And then the calisthenics people were in the aisle across from us. So when I'm not competing, I'm watching the calisthenics stuff, being like, man, I know those guys only weigh like 120 pounds, but what they're doing is crazy. Yeah. And then some of them would come over. Then you'd see a few of them watching us, and
I think
it was a very cool experience and very impressive for how small their country is and how it's not really thought of as a strongman country, but also how new that circuit is. It's only its second year. Yeah. For those two things, what they just did back in November was wildly impressive. And with all the controversies around OSG and stuff this year, I know there are some top level guys that are actually looking at Singapore for Extinct Games year 3. I think it might be like from year 1, year 2, there's a big improvement. I think year 3 is going to be a huge jump because of the eyes that are on it now. And because of the guys like me that went over and coming back and talking about it, people are like, oh, the athlete experience was that good. Maybe I'll do that one.
Dude, every
honey badger, it'd be a cool like trip.
Everybody said great
things.
I heard
Mark Cuppins over there. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's one good thing in the model for PSL, especially with the single weight class shows. Like that's the number one attractor is the single weight class show experience you get, and then the athletes, dude. The more like 80 has had a hard time pulling athletes. Think they have less than 10. Hopefully that grows, but like, dude, 105 last year, it exploded, and I think it's gonna get bigger. I think 90 this year. I think with all the talk that we've had, all the European guys who came over, now they have the European Championships. I think 90 is going to be bigger than ever. And when Tyler's focusing on putting these things at festivals, like you're dropping a strongman show where there's fitness enthusiasts, whether it's a bodybuilding show.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. That is the way to do it.
That's the way to do it, dude. And we as
sports
athletes,
festivals, Renaissance fairs. I'm judging one of the Static Monsters shows out here they're doing it with a pro wrestling show. So there's
Yep.
gonna be pro wrestling. There's gonna be Static Monsters. Like I think combining shows like that, and I think it's a really even with Virginia Beach, they had the monster truck down the boardwalk. People are walking over to that anyway, and they might not even they might not have been watching Strongman not because they don't find it interesting, but they don't know about it. So
Yep.
when you put it right in front of them, and something that's already bringing people by, like, wait, what is this? Let me. What are they carrying there? What?
I think
And then
one
they get interested in it.
one thing that could go a long way. I think Tyler. I don't know if Tyler's going to do it Virginia Beach, the women's event, then a men's event, or he's going to do all the women, then all the men. Probably all the women, then all the men to keep them a couple hours. But it's tough in a fast-paced show. But if there's a crowd, right? If the athletes could do a tiny bit of crowd work, almost like a meet the athletes,
Yeah.
not sit there and have a booth, but like right after an event, you see a kid on the beach on
Yeah.
the boardwalk, you see a kid, hey buddy, what'd you think of that? Slap high five. Because that's larger than life, dude. You got a guy like Nick Hine who's jacked or Alex Suckup,
Yeah.
right? They come over there, a guy like you in your tank top, you go over there and you give a little kid a high five. What'd you think about that, buddy?
Yeah.
Take a picture with him. Dude, that's the stuff that gets people exciting. I did it at Baltimore.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people that late at night. We ran a little late. But right before I went out for the gauntlet, I told this story, but I'll tell you. I was talking to, I forget her name. I want to say it's Kathy. I'm sorry, I forget your name. The female expediter who kept us behind the video wall for the optics. I said, hey, can I go out there? She goes, no, you have to wait till you're up. I'm like, no, I want to go high five those kids in the front, right? Because one of the athletes, I think it was Keith Cherry's kids, and a couple of people in the front. So I
Yeah.
want to high five the crowd. I want to go work the crowd. She goes, go. She's like, go right now, go. So I got out there and I did. It was an amphitheater, right? I went around and I did
Yeah.
times back and forth, and then I went and you want to get cerebral and get hyped up, but like, dude, that hypes me up more than anything. And then I had a decent bag.
Yeah.
After I did the log to farmers. I was just happy to get the second log. I only had a couple seconds. I didn't bother with the farmers, but I was so happy to get that second rep, dude. I put it down. I screamed, dude. I ran right out of the amphitheater and I went out to the stands and I high-fived everybody in the front of the crowd. Now, some people are like, who's this guy? Whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't care. I'm not doing it for them. I'm doing it for like the people who are like excited. Like some of the
Yeah.
guys, like, dude, that was awesome, man. And
No, that kind of stuff is helpful to the
dude,
sport,
they
to
do
the
it. Like
promotion.
Evan Singleton does it at Giants Live. He'll grab like that little kid
Yeah.
who's always there. He'll wave the flag. Camby dude works the crowd. Like, dude, we
Yeah.
need it. The head. That's one great thing. The heavyweight.
Absolutely.
They all have a YouTube these days, and they build a fan
Yeah.
base. And we got to start doing that if we want to be taken serious. And I not look at this, dude. I'm saying we, and I just made it to this level. But if this weight class wants to be taken serious, we have to do it. Tyler Davis is doing it right
I
now.
agree.
It's on the Beast Games, dude.
Yeah. He's doing the Beast Games. I saw that.
Yep. Hopefully that parlays into something. Hopefully Mr. Beast says like, what's this PSL thing? Like maybe
That would be awesome.
Mr. Beast could take 10 or 15 of the best 90s and put them in a room, Who knows?
That would be wild.
But Jacob, I think we could probably end it there. Dude, I had a great time talking to you, brother.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you
Absolutely.
back on. Like I said, there's so much more stuff we could talk about. I love talking to somebody who's so intertwined in the sport too, and
Yeah.
not just talk about like how your training cycle's going. Dude, we didn't even talk about you doing the West Coast qualifier. Let's do a quick couple minutes because I do got to go. You're doing
Yeah.
the West Coast, right? You're jumping in there with CJ Pierce.
I am.
Good luck.
Yep.
He's a beast.
Really good buddy of mine.
Is
Yes,
He's
he
a great
is.
guy. Yep. We're in talks to have him come on. We were supposed to do it after this, but I'm busy and I want to watch the Patriots.
Yeah.
And I'd like to think he wants to watch the Bears today. I think he's a Bears fan.
Yeah.
But you're going against CJ. My buddy Rob Floater will be there in the 90. If you qualify, the timing's probably not going to work out for Virginia Beach, right? Because that's going to be right around your body.
No, yeah. I think it's actually the same weekend, if I remember right.
If would you consider if Tyler would let you, if you podium 105 and Tyler let you into the 90s, would you come throw down with me at the 90s? That's August.
If I were to do well enough, I would do the 90 show if that was an option. I don't think it will be. I think he is trying to keep it to what you qualify for. But I'll be back next year for sure. And I probably will do Extinct Games in 2026 as U90.
Dude,
so I think U90 is where I'll stay.
Are you probably not if you only did OSG last year, but you did you do PSL 90 last year?
No, last year was my full bodybuilding year.
Wow.
I say I took last year off, but I still competed like 6 times in powerlifting and strongman. But it was a lot more like local stuff.
Because I don't know if you are or not. I didn't notice your name, but if you're ranked in the top 15, then you're invited to PSL 90 in the new PSL ranking.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So check it out, dude, baby. Because dude,
I saw some talk about that, but I didn't know it was officially rolled out yet. Okay.
Yeah. Oh
I'll
no,
have to take
dude.
a
Oh
look. I
yeah,
don't
dude.
think I am, but
Check out the website. The rankings are rolled out.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Honey
Okay.
Badger's in there, Pinkerton's in there. I'm not in there. I don't compete at 90 enough at this level. It goes by the Arnold, SC Arnold, PSL, OSG, and World Ultimates. So you did OSG
Okay.
90.
So if I am in there for a qualifier in that way, then I will do the 90
You would
show.
do the 90. Yeah.
It's really just if I'm able to do it, but
Yeah.
I'll be back for U90. I think that's the long term. I think I'm staying there. So
Tyler's a reasonable guy. Obviously, he can't make any promises, but if you kill it at
yeah,
105, do your bodybuilding show. You've done all the shows. You're a great ambassador of the sport. And if 90 doesn't have a great turnout, maybe he'll put you on the alternate list, and you'll already be at walking distance, fighting shape, like close enough,
yeah,
because you'll be shredded
yeah,
still.
yeah, yeah.
So hopefully we'll see you there. But dude, we'll talk again soon, man. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All
Yeah.
right,
Thanks for having me.
take care, man.